Hello, everyone. Welcome live to 3Y TV's nice broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing League for Monday Night Thunder, brought to you by Stay Tuned Sports Podcast right here on 3Y TV. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth is none other than Garrett Gleason. And Garrett, we thought that we were going to be in the state of Tennessee here tonight, but we're not. We are at Richmond Motor Speedway here tonight. This 3/4 mile racetrack, a lot of action we're expecting here on the racetrack tonight.
Peter, it's good to be here in Richmond, one of the more unique tracks, like you said, 3/4 of a mile. And it used to be one of my favorite tracks, Peter, when it was freshly paved and I knew how to get around this place. But ever since I came to iRacing, I don't have a clue. So I hope everybody's tuned in so you can tell us how to get around this place, and maybe I can get some pointers.
Well, I can say one thing. This is a very tricky racetrack, especially depending on the setup. We're racing here at night, which means the track conditions are going to be a little bit on the cool side, and that is going to give these drivers a little bit more grip. But I'm sure as these tires start to wear, we'll start to see a little bit more rear wheel spin and potentially some contact as Ben Adams, speaking of contact, impales the wall there on the back stretch. On the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the current track temperature right at the bottom of the graphic, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So that will make these trucks fairly grippy, at least on the short run. But Calamity Corner, every time you come here, G, is usually turn number 4 and turn number 2. Turn number 4, because as you can see, this front stretch is curved the whole way around. You get on the power a little bit too soon, you spin into the infield, and then turn number 2 is the opposite. It flattens out, and it flattens out in a hurry, and we'll often see drivers clip that outside wall, and I'm sure we'll see that at some point here tonight, something to keep an eye on as we have a minute left. But Garrett, want to give a big shout out here tonight to our friends over at Butt Kicker. The Butt Kicker Challenge is back here in the Total Nonstop Racing League for drivers. Whoever picks up the pole award has an opportunity to start at the back of the field, and it's all courtesy of our friends over at thebuttkicker.com. If you have a sim rig and you want to elevate your experience, go buy a butt kicker. They're super, super cool. They give you all the rumbles in your butt. They kick your butt, if you will, over a long race, and I gotta say, really, really cool product, thebuttkicker.com. Let's go check out the chat here before we move over into the qualifying session. We'll figure out who has an opportunity to go for that Butt Kicker Challenge. We got the Windsors in the chat rooting on Bill Edwards here tonight. Johnny Williams saying good luck all. Hello to the booth. Johnny, hope that your mouth is doing okay. Unfortunately, having an infection, I do believe here tonight, keeping you out of the starting lineup. And Tenna Himmelman rooting on Andrew Himmelman and Ben Adams here tonight. But we are about set here, Garrett, to go over into the qualifying session. James Dorello and Ryan Hesgard fastest in the practice session. Tom Bourne third. So some new faces here to the Total Nonstop Racing League Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Monday Night Thunder near the top of the board.
Peter, I'm jealous. All these new guys are getting in on the action of this Monday Night Thunder Truck Series, and I'm stuck with you. But I guess it could be worse, as we see our good friend Bill Edwards take to the track for his first lap of qualifying.
You know, I think I'm going to have to ask the chat. You say you're stuck with me. The chat is stuck with me. And chat, this is the place to be, right? The place to be is up here in the booth, stuck with me. And I mean, that's right? Hopefully the chat agrees, but we do have trucks out there on the racetrack, and one of those is the Silent Syndicate Racing, the number 50 machine right there of Bill Edwards. John Borse out there on the racetrack right now. The 86 machine, he loses it in turn number 1. The DizzyMerch.com 86 hard into the outside wall. We'll see him go to a backup car to try and get a qualifying lap time in. Bradley Wilson goes second on the board. And how about Philip Scott here, Garrett? The number 99 machine, we've seen a lot of pace out of the National Ninja League truck, and he is again near the top of the board. But Mitchell Adams, the number 49 machine, now he's going to jump up to the top of the board in his Adams Racing Chevy Silverado, back in the lineup last week, and here he is atop the board. At least he was for a brief second, because Bill Edwards picks it up on lap number 2 and goes fastest of all. I know the Windsors in the chat will be happy to see that. Still currently fastest of all on his second lap time.
Well, it's all because Bill took the time this week to put all those new decals on his truck that signify how old he is out there, Peter. So we'll take a good look at those later. But no surprise to see Bill putting down a good lap. Mitchell Adams and amongst others here. So we'll just see who's going to reign supreme here at the end of qualifying and see if they take that butt kicker challenge at a track where track position is going to be really important. So we'll see if they give it up for a chance at our butt kicker award.
And not only will track position be extremely important, Garrett, huge field here tonight. I'm looking up and down the scoring pylon, and I'm seeing on the order of 37 or so trucks entered into this race tonight at Richmond International Raceway. And that is going to make track position so important. Andrew Himmelman, the number 8 machine, now second on the board, just a couple thousandths of a second slower. He just jumped off the racetrack right there. There's Jeff Price, Back Channel Productions, number 14 truck out there on the racetrack. Hondo Longmire, who has been trying in that Goon Motorsports machine to knock off the Dizzy Motorsports, to kind of drum up a little bit of a rivalry between those teams. But Hondo's going to have to start deep in the field here tonight in the 30th position, plus as these other drivers go out there onto the racetrack. Here is Bronson Stafford in his machine right there. Flat Out Racing Network Toyota Tundra. Where can he jump himself onto the board? Kevin Stone just jumped into the top 10 with a 6th place run, and James Orello currently rounds out our top 10 in the 10th position. But we have some heavy hitters. Let's go check out what Shane Ewing is going to do out there on the racetrack. Looks like Ewing is going to go up into the top 10 in the 8th spot, but I've been seeing these drivers pick up time on their second lap. Let's see if Ewing can do so here in his Rayovac Toyota Tundra G.
Yeah, Shane's looking for a good starting spot tonight. This is the type of track I expect him to run pretty decently at, Peter. And as you were talking about some of the new faces we had here in Total Nonstop Racing, I saw some familiar faces like Lupe Gonzalez and Ricky Williams are back, and my good friend Tony Lucarelli looks like he's making a start tonight. So I'm glad to see those Xfinity guys moving over here to our Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series.
Yeah, and big shout out to our friends over at Stay Tuned Sports and the podcast. Garrett, I hate to say this, but the Eagles won a football game yesterday, and they won in fashion. I know that will make Jimbo happy, much to my demise. But hey, my Cowboys won, and your Giants are playing right now, so the NFC East in action quite a bit this week. And Jimbo's in the chat saying, I'm here. Of course you chime up when I start talking about the Eagles winning a football game. That sounds about right. Just trying to rub it in that you guys blew out someone else. But he says, hold on, it was the Lions. The 0-8 Lions, the not-so-mighty Lions this year. If you're a Lions fan, I do apologize. We don't mean to rub things in, but I try and rub the Stay Tuned Sports folks one way or another. John Canizaro saying no. Hannah Himmelman saying, please tell me we were all rooting for the Braves, right? I'm rooting for the Braves. But Canizaro's rooting for the Stros. That's an interesting one. But anyway, checkered flag is out, and how about that qualifying run for Bill Edwards, G? Now we go into this little bit of a holding period. We'll try and skip this as soon as we can to get over into the race. But let's see if we can bring up those qualifying results for everyone. We'll bring up the starting lineup in just a moment, but we can also just bring up the qualifying results and just show the folks at home those lap times so everyone can kind of see how close it was. But Bill Edwards, by 9 1,000ths of a second over Andrew Himmelman, now has an opportunity to participate in that butt kicker challenge. If he can drop to the tail end of the field, race his way through the entire field and finish inside the top 3, Bill Edwards can pick up some extra cash here tonight, G.
Yeah, I think nothing to take away from our friends at Butt Kicker, Peter, but I think I'd take the pole position here at Richmond over the cash. But if that cash goes into next week and we could maybe start to get some big bucks out there, these guys might be more than willing to take the risk, but we'll have to see what Bill decides.
Yeah, so that is a look at the top 18 here tonight. Let's see if we can actually get a quick word with tonight's poll award winner, the S2R machine of Bill Edwards. We'll grab him up here into the 3-wide TV booth. Bill Edwards, Peter Short, 3-wide TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, you laid down one stellar lap time by 9/1000ths of a second, knocking off your big foe, Andrew Himmelman. Going to be up there on the pole here tonight, but our good friends at Butt Kicker are giving you an opportunity to drop to the tail end of the field, race your way back through, and if you can finish inside the top 3 here tonight at Richmond, you can get some extra cash. Are you going to participate in the Butt Kicker Challenge here tonight?
I'm a gambler. I'll do it.
All right, well, we have our first attemptee of the Butt Kicker Challenge this season. Bill, that's going to put you at the back of the field. Going to completely change your strategy than if you started up at the front. What's going through your mind? How are you going to get back up to the front?
Avoid the wrecks. I've got to be patient and avoid the wrecks.
So do you actually think there are going to be a lot of wrecks here tonight? How's the truck driving?
It's a bit loose.
Well, a little bit loose. That sounds about right for Richmond. What portion of the corner is it loose? Entry, middle, or exit? I know usually we see people get loose on exit here at Richmond, but what about on entry?
Entry's not too bad, as long as you don't overbrake going in. Exit is definitely a bit hairy, but it should be fun. The setups, it's a stock setup. It seems to be pretty good here. Track's good. Track feels really nice tonight, so it should be a good one.
Well, I'll tell you what, it definitely is going to be interesting for you here tonight, starting at the back of the field. Gonna race your way up to the front. Good luck here tonight, Bill. I know you got people you want to give a shout out to, so let's hear it.
I got to give a shout out to you guys up in the booth, TNR, all the guys here at Stay Tuned Sports, and I got to say hi to my mom and wish me good luck because I'm going to need it.
Well, a couple new stickers on your car this week we're hearing, and hey, maybe they're your good luck charms out there on the racetrack. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, the wings on the back's going to keep me settled, hopefully.
Well, folks, that was your pole sitter here tonight. Going to have to drop to the tail end of the field, Bill Edwards. You see the iRacing pace car out there for just a brief moment. It will come down pit road here. We'll promptly advance over into the race session. We'll go through tonight's starting lineup in a moment, but definitely going to be an interesting one here tonight, Garrett. 180 laps, plenty of time to race your way through the field.
Wow, that's incredible. Bill taking the Butt Kicker Challenge. I don't even know how he sits down with the size of his guts, let's call them, taking that challenge. Good for you, Bill, and we appreciate it, and I'm sure our friends at Butt Kicker appreciate it. But can't wait to get this race underway, Peter. This is going to be exciting. See if these guys could race each other with multiple grooves. See if guys decide to take the outside, maybe out of turn 2, and get some runs on guys and try to make passes. It's going to be a good show, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for tuning in here to 3Wide TV for the Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. I'm Peter Short, Garrett Gleason alongside me, the commish Garrett Gleason, as we used to call you, as you, of course, founded Total Nonstop Racing League back in the day in the NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the EA Sports games, all that good stuff, well over 10 years ago, and now going strong in the iRacing.com motorsports simulator. If you haven't checked out iRacing.com, make sure you do so. You can sign up, get a subscription, get driving today here on any PC that you might have. You might need a better computer to run it than some, but you don't need an exceptional computer to get out there on the racetrack. Just waiting for the race administrators to transfer the race over into the race session here. We got a little bit of a quiet period, Garrett. I'm sure some of these drivers might be getting some instructions from the other administrators, telling them, hey guys, this is a long race here tonight. Don't go out there, wreck on lap 1. You can't win the race on lap 1. You can't win the race on lap 2. You have to make all 180 laps around this track. And who knows, we might even have some green-white checkers at the end of the race. A lot can happen in 180 laps. And Bill Edwards, he's got a long night ahead of him.
Absolutely, Peter. Starting from the back. It's going to be a fun night, though. Bill was laughing during our interview. He's always in such a good mood, and he'll be laughing and having a great time passing all these cars. But like he said, coming through the field at a track like Richmond, where guys do spin coming off the corner more than at a lot of tracks, you're going to have to be careful and pick and choose those opportunities and make sure you're comfortable around the guys that you're trying to pass before you just dive right in there.
That's for sure. Hearing that Matthew Rodriguez has broke his leg yesterday, and he's still racing tonight with lots of painkillers. So he's racing injured here tonight. Race cars are out there for now. Just a brief moment before we transfer over into the final race session here tonight on 3Y TV. So that's what they're doing out there. Just for a brief moment, not enough for us to get out there. So let's see if we can give you kind of a look here tonight of some of our cool cams. We got this cam right here coming out of turn number 2. You get to see all the trucks hugging that yellow line. That's where we expect to see most of the trucks here tonight. That's where the grip is, usually on the low line here. We got what I like to call the action cam here on the backstretch. It's not called Thunder Rally. That, of course, is the backstretch at Rockingham Speedway, but they might as well name this place Thunder Rally too, as I have seen it home to some really big accidents. And then, of course, turn number 4 cam, which we will see in just a little bit as these drivers are starting to grid out there. So, Garrett, it is time for us to bring up our starting lineup, and why don't you take us through your top 10?
All right, starting on pole, Bill Edwards taking the butt kicker challenge, though, so he'll be coming from the back. Andrew Himmelman will start on the outside pole in the number 8 machine. Alonso Chicano will move up, as will the entire inside row, and he's starting third. Tom Bourne brings the number 31 machine in the 4th starting position. Our good friend, the Wild Child, John Cannizzaro, will start 5th. Kevin Stone, with the good qualifying run, brings the number 77 into 6th place. Mitchell Adams and Shane Ewing will start 7th and 8th. Casey Brunson and Philip Scott round out your top 10, Peter.
In the 11th position, the very, very fast number 13 of James Sorello. John Borst will be alongside him in the number 86. Looking back to row number 7 here tonight, Chris Cabot and Ryan Hesgard. Hesgard was very fast in the practice session. Expect for him to move up through the field. Ben Adams and Jeff Price will make up row number 8. Nick Chambrone, Casey Miller, row number 9. Mike Floppy Tellier, the Canadian driver, there in 19th. And Bradley Wilson will start alongside him in the number 54.
All right, outside your top 20 and 21st, we have Robert Kenny. Good to see Ricky Williams back. He'll roll the number 11 off in 22nd position. Also good to see Lupe Gonzalez back, starting in 23rd position, the number 35. Tony Lucarelli, who I spent Halloween with him and his lovely wife and daughter, starts 24th. Our good friend Bob Giaquinto rolls the Polyhedral Cathedral machine off in 25th. Jamar Dumas will start 26th. Steve Bavak will take the number 36 to the 27th starting position. Jason Shue in 28th. Jeff Stewart will start 29th. And Jason Freeman, who won last week, that's an uncharacteristic qualifying spot for him, starts 30th, Peter.
31st position here tonight for Cameron Perez in the number 48. Matthew Rodriguez will line up alongside him. Hondo Longmire, Stephen Doziak on row number 17. Gregory Gable and Fernando Matos on row number 18 here tonight. Like I said, big field here at Richmond International Speedway. Bronson Stafford, Vincent Valvano on row number 19. Tristan Maher, Stephen Kegman rounding out your 40 truck field here tonight. It is going to be a big one, and it is going to be one wild ride, that is for sure, as we get set to go racing around this track. 180 laps here in store for all of you folks here tonight. Of course, the inside row will all move up one truck with Bill Edwards dropping to the back. We'll have to keep an eye on him doing the butt kicker challenge here tonight. The first time it is on offer this season. Pace car heads down pit road. The number 95 of Alonso Chicano assumes the pole. And we're a green flag here at Richmond, G.
Yeah, Alonso Chicano taking advantage of Bill dropping to the back and will lead the field here into turn 1. Now, guys in the field here tonight, let's keep it green. The Giants are on. And not that I want this race to get over with, but let's keep it green, just for my own mental health.
You see all the trucks fanning out 2 and 3 wide, pretty much all the way through the field. Meanwhile, the number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman trying to use the high line to his advantage. I think that might have been Mike Floppy Tellier, the number 97, for some reason. Down below the apron, there he is, minus 9 spots, and we're 4 wide through turn number 1 and 2, and a little bit of argy-barginess as the number 61 right there, Bronson Stafford, barging his way past his fellow Canadian of Mike Tellier. And we're hearing Tom Bourne has gone around. Green flag is still in the air. Tom Bourne might have just looped it coming out of turn number 4. He was up near the front of the field. And G, first replay of the night, but we stay green flag.
Yeah, good job staying green there, everyone. With Tom Bourne having a little bit of an issue here, and like you said, you just go to put that power down and the rear end kicks out. But single car incident. iRacing didn't throw the flag, and he'll be on his way.
So he's kind of induced a butt kicker challenge himself, as he's now going to be well down in the field. Unfortunately, there he is in the 40th position from starting up there near the front of the field. Alonso Chicano has finally cleared the number 8 machine, but look at this. Kevin Stone on the inside, Mitchell Adams in the middle, and then the number 10 machine of Casey Brunson on the top side. We've seen 3 wide, we've seen 4 wide here in the opening 5 laps. Garrett, you know what they say, to finish first you must finish, but these drivers acting like it's the last lap here at Richmond early on.
Peter, it's both good and bad. I like that these guys are willing to risk it out there to get to the front, and that they trust their fellow racers to do so, but you really are on that edge, especially 3 wide, and the 4 wide we saw earlier was pretty mind-blowing. So mind your manners out there, guys. It's a long race. Let's keep the fenders on her.
Yeah, and looking a little bit further back in the pack, we're looking now back to Tony Lucarelli, who's exactly where he started here tonight. Bill Edwards, meanwhile, in the Silent Syndicate racing machine, there he gets around Jamar Dumas, it appears. Right in front of him is Jason Freeman and the number 61 of Bronson Stafford. And Edwards doing a decent job of picking up positions here early on, as someone back there might have caught the wall. That might have been Matthew Rodriguez, who is racing with the broken foot or broken leg. I just mentioned it a little while ago. But the number 57 finds himself right now in the 31st position. So some interesting things happening here in the early going. Back up inside the top 10, we got this good battle. Kevin Stone. Finally, I think we're back to kind of 2 and single file, 2 wide and single file racing. No 3 wide in this group just yet, as Ryan Hesgard now looks to the inside of the 77 of Kevin Stone, another one of those Silent Syndicate racing trucks. We saw Edwards on the pole, and now the 2 of Hesgard inside the top 10 plus 6 spots. Garrett, I mentioned as we were going through the field that he's one that I'm going to keep my eye on here, because I'm already plus 6. We're only 10 laps in.
Yeah, Peter, definitely someone to keep your eye on. And like in our other broadcasts in the National Sim Racing Association, we had Maxwell Castro just show up and start winning. So Hesgard could definitely show up to Total Nonstop Racing here on Monday night and be the guy left standing at the end of the night. Somebody to keep an eye on. But there's so many strong drivers out there, Peter, and we're watching 2 of them battle right now, like Shane Ewing and Philip Scott.
Yeah, Shane Ewing right here now racing with Chris Cabot in the Goon Motorsports number 42. I do love that look on the number 42 machine. Reminds me of quite a few Razor schemes I have seen over the years, going back to the NASCAR Racing 2003 season days. Something has happened to Bronson Stafford. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to the number 61 machine. He was racing back here with the number 50, and he just cuts down to the bottom side of the racetrack, Garrett. Got the clear all clear, and the 61 Flat Out Racing Network Toyota Tundra comes down onto pit road and has to tow. So not sure if something's up with him. Hope all is okay. But that's a tough break for Bronson Stafford. Could become the first retirement of the night here at Richmond. Meanwhile, now Ben Adams is racing with the number 32. Has a huge wiggle back behind him. The 05 back there. Casey Miller was completely crossed up coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, that seemed like a weird spot to get that loose, Peter, but Casey did a good job holding on to it. Keeping this, he didn't really lose any time, which is just a testament to how good that save that was.
So now the field, some of them starting to get stretched out kind of closer to the front of the field. Others, not so much. Here's Philip Scott racing with Chris Cabot. So Philip, if you're keeping track at home, he started in the 10th position. He's racing now for the 9th position with the number 42 machine right here, Chris Cabot. They're just trying to find just that little bit of time on one another. Garrett, it can be fairly difficult to pull off a pass here at this racetrack, because on the inside you can really get pinched down, and it really narrows up the racetrack on that inside groove if you have another race truck alongside you. And of course, you want to stay off that car next to you. You don't want to get into them and cause an accident. Otherwise, we'll have what happened, I think, in the NASCAR race yesterday. For those people who still watch NASCAR these days, I'm sure a good number of people in the field do, and watching at home. But looks like Mitchell Adams here kind of proving my point, Garrett, that it can be really difficult for a car on the inside. Even though they might be a little bit faster, it's just difficult to pull off that pass, and you can see all that space now developing between Adams and James Lorello. Lorello about a second and a half ahead of this battle for position. Another Silent Syndicate Racing machine. So I'm not sure if the Silent Syndicate Racing trucks have figured something out, but we saw all that pace early on from Bill Edwards, who has now climbed himself up into the 24th position. There he is, doing that butt kicker challenge here tonight. And it started back in 37th position. He's climbed himself up towards the top 20. Still a long way to go, though, for Edwards as this race goes on. But he's 20 laps in, 160 plus laps to go. Still plenty of time. And of course, pit strategy is going to be a lot of fun here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. And just a couple points I wanted to make, as you brought up a lot of great points on your own there. But as far as passing here goes, I found, like you were saying, that when I raced the last time here in the trucks, that I had to keep the momentum rolling on that outside, because, like you said, once you get to the inside, you get pinched down, and there is not enough racetrack to complete passes, especially if you guys are similar on speed. And just Bill Edwards only up to 24th position, some people might be thinking, but that's actually a tremendous accomplishment with how deep this field is talent-wise. In NASCAR, if this was the Truck Series or Xfinity Series and somebody went from the pole to the back, usually they'd be in the top 12 by now. But Total Nonstop Racing, 20 laps, and Bill's only made up like 13 positions.
That is for sure. 20 laps down, 160 laps to go. We've been green flag here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Stay tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder right here on the channel. We really appreciate you all in the chat. Tana Hillman saying, don't forget to give the broadcast a like. Yes, Tana, we really do appreciate it. We just broke 1,000 subscribers here on the channel, and it is all possible due to viewers like you. And that is something that we really, really do appreciate on the channel, that's for sure. Just looking up and down the scoring pylon, gaps starting to develop for a good majority of the field, but here is James Lorello getting around the number 12 machine, the wild child of John Cannizzaro Jr. and Garrett. These two racing hard for position, but it looks like Lorello is going to pick up that spot and move himself up to 4th. He started 11th on the grid, so he's another one of those Silent Syndicate Racing trucks that's slowly making their way towards the top of the field.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter, and especially 24 laps into this green flag run, this is about the time that a driver like James Lorello starts just picking off trucks strategically out there, because he's saving his stuff and he's just being calculated, as it looks like we're headed towards a replay here, Peter.
No replay this time, just trying to get some stuff sorted out on my end to make sure that some of these paint schemes, like the number 12, didn't quite seem right, so I tried to see if I could maybe reset the software that we use to obtain all these paint schemes and see if that changes anything there, as looks like Lorello now on the back of the number 10 machine. And looks like Nick Cohan is saying that we have a new drinking game, and I think, Nick, I don't think that's going to bode well for the chat. I'll be completely honest with you. That will not go well for the chat if that's the new drinking game. So, you guys can read it at home, what he said in the chat. But, yeah, I don't want to say it, because if I say it, Garrett, then you'll have to take a drink. And, I mean, yeah, anyway.
How about we just both say Nick sucks, Peter, and we'll go from there. And, hey, Nick, we in all seriousness, we do miss you here. And hope one day you're back here racing with us.
Guys, if you haven't checked out DizzyMerch.com, Nick Sucks. Get all the Nick Sucks merchandise you can get. Nick Cohan put DizzyMerch.com together. Nick, if you want to put a link in the chat, feel free to. But they have some really, really cool merchandise for Dizzy Motorsports, and a lot of Nick Sucks merchandise that you can pick up. And, who doesn't want a Nick Sucks hoodie? I'm sure everyone knows a Nick who sucks at some point. So it might be relevant in your life. I don't know. It might be more relevant than we think it is. But we got this good racing happening out here on the racetrack. Casey Brunson has been caught by James Varela, who's continuing his march forward. Meanwhile, Alonso Chicano has about a half-second lead on Andrew Himmelman at the front of the field. Meanwhile, John Cannizzaro now under fire from the 2 machine of Ryan Hesgard. But as they're racing their way through lap traffic, there goes the number 3 machine, Jason Shu. He's just going to peel onto the bottom side of the racetrack. And how about that? More 3-wide action on 3-wide TV.
Wow, good job navigating some slower trucks out there. And I don't know if Jason Shu pulled off or not. I know he was also dealing with a tooth issue, so I hope he's feeling better. But tremendous racing out there, Peter. We have now. This is tough on these guys' skill sets because you're racing someone and you're going to come up on a truck that might be a second slower than you, and you have to navigate that while not losing any ground. So everybody's doing a tremendous job out there.
Racing for position while navigating lap traffic isn't always the easiest thing in the world. I'm sure a lot of people who are drivers can attest to that. Meanwhile, we're hearing that something may have happened to the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. G, let's see if we can go back and get a replay of this one and see if maybe our good friend Mike Tellier had a moment coming out of turn 4, goes down the van. Tristan Maher just barely squeaked on through that. Somehow, Tellier kind of fell down the racetrack to the inside of the infield, luckily, without collecting someone.
Well, another lucky break for everyone out there. I guess depending on how you're running, maybe some guys wanted the yellow. But we saw Tom Bourne have an issue earlier, didn't bring out the yellow, and then Floppy just did a tremendous job there, not bringing out the caution as well. But hey, eventually we're going to have one, Peter, unless Richmond becomes a different track overnight here. But look at Tristan Maher getting through this.
Yeah, and there is Tellier. Only lost a couple of spots out of that, but unfortunately, every spot that you lose here is rather important, with track position being so important out there on the track. There is the battle for the race lead. Andrew Himmelman not really letting Alonso Chicano get too far out front, but they're going to stabilize about a half second as we see the new third-place driver, James Arello, in that replay was able to get his way around Casey Brunson. Mitchell Adams followed on through as well. So Adams here also having a fairly strong start to the show. As they get around the lap truck there of Jamar Dumas, a lot of damage on the Pittsburgh Penguins number 28 machine. Meanwhile, positions changing hands towards the back of the field. Bill Edwards still climbing his way up through the field slowly but surely. He's about to get around the number 72. That's for the 21st position. We also see this big mess of trucks. That's Kevin Stone that leads the 05 Casey Miller, the 20 of Jason Freeman in this, Jeff Price in this battle as well. Then back behind them, they got Lupe Gonzalez, Shane Ewing, Bradley Wilson back there. So, oh man, Jason Freeman all the way down there on the apron. That's going to cause him to lose up a little bit of time. And look at Jeff Price running well up the racetrack, getting a strong run now down the backstretch to the inside of Kevin Stone. He has to check up a little bit in the number 14 truck. I think he broke a little bit sideways there, Garrett.
Wow, Jeff Price drove the wheels off that thing to make that pass, Peter, and I'm still in awe. And just going back to our good buddy Bill Edwards, I feel like he's climbing through the field much like he had to climb out of the Great Depression when he was a child.
Folks, if you were not here last week, you would, or maybe that was 2 weeks ago, Garrett, I think we're keeping this going, that Bill Edwards is the old guy in the field. And he's showing some pace in that machine. Just got some new logos on the car, and I think one of those is something like the Wright brothers or something, from the early days of aviation, 1903, when we finally first were able to fly a powered aircraft. And so I think that is dating that number 50 right there. If that's the case, if he's sponsored by then, near on 100 years old. Very impressive out there. I don't think Bill will tell you that that's old. And the Windsor's in the chat saying, are you calling him old again? Hey, he's going with it. He's got the Wright brothers on that machine, as Kevin Stone there in the middle of 3 wide in front of Bill. In fact, Bill, in one fell swoop, has caught this pack. And just the S2R machines here tonight, very strong at Richmond.
Yeah, not much of a opportunity for these guys to test because nobody knew we were coming to Richmond tonight until maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours before the race when we found out that Nashville Fairgrounds did not have a default setup for us. And these S2R guys must have been practicing Richmond or just have had a lot of success here. I remember the couple races I had with them, they were strong here, so really no surprise. And they do a good job sharing information and helping each other out in practice, and it's certainly showing.
Yeah, and of course, having the number 2 machine on the team this week, Ryan Hesgard, we saw all that pace out of him in the practice session. He's up into the top 6 now, trying to close in on Casey Brunson. That gap is down to about a half second. Meanwhile, up at the very tippy top of the field, the top of the scoring pylon, Andrew Himmelman has closed in on Alonso Chicano. This is the battle for the race lead, just about 0.2 of a second separate the 95 and the number 8. Then it is a big gap back to the number 13 machine of James Morello, who's leading Mitchell Adams. There is the battle now for third, as the number 13 might have just been caught out by the number 23 of Bob Giaquinto in the Polyhedral Cathedral Chevy Silverado, but Adams going to duck back in. Then back behind them, there's the number 10, your 5th place driver of Casey Brunson. Hesgard back behind him with a lot of pressure from John Borst, who did go to a backup truck in the qualifying session. And finally, caution flag waves for the first time here tonight on lap number 46.
Oh boy, Peter, it looks like our leaders might have been involved. I think I see the 8 of Andrew Himmelman stopped on the racetrack.
I saw that as well. What happened here to Andrew Himmelman? Let's see if we can play the tape. Going off into, oh no, it happened in front of Andrew Himmelman, and Himmelman looks like he came to a complete stop. So something happened with Mike Floppy Tellier, and that's going to be really unfortunate for Himmelman because he's probably going to lose some track position. He prevented further damage, but it looks like it all happened in front of him. Let's see what we can see in regards to the... that's not it. Let's see if we can go back to Mike Tellier. There we go. He was racing with the number 48 truck, and they banged doors right there. They banged doors again. That is the number 48 of Cameron Perez, and then I don't think Cameron Perez appreciated that all too much. Gives him a little bit of a nudge, sends him up the racetrack in for a half spin. Look at Rodriguez sneaking on through, and somehow, some way, Tellier is able to keep it off the wall. Just no one else getting involved in that, but a little bit of getting the elbows out here in the first quarter of the race. In fact, we've just now gotten past the first quarter of the race mark, which means all these drivers are going to come down pit road, and there is a live view of pit road with all of these trucks just getting in and out of their pit box. There's Bill Edwards and the number 50 machine, who will be off the jacks here shortly. And, well, as I say that, looks like left sides are going on. Not sure if he... yeah, no, it looks like he's going to come out about where he was in and amongst the pack, but caution flag number 1, right on the quarter race distance here tonight. Was a great start to the race. So, anyway, folks, thanks for tuning on in here on 3 Wide TV. And Garrett, it's been a pretty clean start to the race, that's for sure. These drivers here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder League, are awesome.
Yeah, they definitely are awesome, Peter. And even that incident there between Mike and Perez, I mean, it looked like it was payback or some sort of retaliation, but no one got caught up in it. There wasn't a chain reaction. Guys just plowed in there and not used their brakes, which you see even in the best of leagues. Sometimes you just see guys asleep at the wheel, for lack of a better term, and something small like that becomes something major. As Kegman looks like he's staying out for maybe a waiver around here, which, I don't blame him. He'll get some TV time any way you can there, Steve Areno.
Yeah, it looks like Kegman will stay out, like you mentioned, to get that wave around. Get himself... Where is he currently? He's currently on the lead lap, so he'll be back on the lead lap once the wave around does occur, which will be fairly shortly, we do think. We expect to see the iRacing pace car lights turn off this lap. There's the number 96 machine you saw just rolling at the bottom of the screen. That is Gregory Gable, currently being scored, I believe, 2 laps down. Nope, excuse me, 1 lap down in his machine. So we are at 31 trucks on the lead lap when we go back green here very shortly. Vincent Valvano, Cameron Perez, Hondo Longmire, Steve Bavacqua, Jamar Dumas, Mike Tellier, Gregory Gable, all one or more laps down. Garrett, Jason Shue, Bronson Stafford, the two trucks, who have retired here tonight out of the 40 trucks that we had start the race here tonight. Absolutely fantastic to see 40 trucks and a 45-lap green flag run at a short track. You don't often see that. We saw 2 wide, we saw 3 wide, but you know what they say, cautions breed cautions here. We're about to go back green shortly.
Yeah, that's what Stephen Kegman is hoping for. We're taking this wave around. You're hoping that the yellow leads to another yellow quick. You could go in and get your tires. And for Tana, here's your hubby, Ben Adams. He is out there in the field tonight. He's not taking the night off. He's out there, and we'll try to keep an eye on him.
Green flag is back in the air. We're headed towards turn number 1 as Alonso Chicano going to lead us again to the green flag. Has led every single lap so far, was just getting under pressure from the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman just a little while ago. Himmelman now a little bit further back in the pack, calling his own number in the 8th spot right now. Look at a little bit of a wiggle there out of the number 13 of Lorello. We saw Lorello so good on the long green flag run, Garrett, that I'm just wondering whether or not, now that he has a little bit of track position, can he run down Alonso Chicano as Adams clears him out of turn number 2?
Well, that might be our answer there, Peter, as Mitchell Adams is able to take advantage of the fresh tires on James Lorello. It seemed like it took James's truck a couple laps to come to life, but he's not giving it up that easily, and we'll see if he has anything for him going into this turn. But, Peter, just to go back to that restart, I don't think the choose rule was in effect, but I saw a lot of guys looking like they were choosing lanes, so I don't know if we had some sort of slowdown or whatever, but I definitely saw a lot more guys on the inside lane and the guys pulling up, and oh no, Ben Adams got cursed.
Ben Adams got cursed. He might have got a little bit to the 3-wide TV ray gun as he goes around for a half spin, going to lose a lot of track position, and now has a little bit of rear end damage. And I thought there might have been a little bit of contact with the driver participating in the butt kicker challenge. Let's see whether or not there was indeed contact between the 50 of Bill Edwards and Ben Adams. Maybe I was just kind of seeing things from afar. Coming down the backstretch, here comes Bill Edwards. There's the number 5 of Ben Adams, and they go off towards turn number 3. And Garrett, oh, that looked like net code a little bit. Let's see if we can rewind it. Let's do the live 3-wide TV rewind. And let's put this into slow motion, Garrett. It seemed like when the number 5, he's still going straight here. Right there, he's starting to lose control of the truck. Now, you might argue they were going to make contact anyway, and that might be true. But let's just watch this one more time. That's kind of a tough one to call, Garrett, because there appeared to be a sliver of daylight between the number 5 and the number 50 when the 5 started to go around. Maybe there was going to be contact anyway. Maybe the hitbox. We talk about hitbox a lot in first-person shooter games. But maybe the hitbox, if you will, that's the zone where iRacing registers contact. Maybe it's a little bit off because there was some rear-end damage on the number 5 truck already. But unfortunately, he just gets tagged right there, does a good job locking it down, getting on the brakes. At this point, he's just praying that no one hits him in the side of the truck, and no one does. Everyone does a good job to get around him, but it will bring out our second caution of the night.
Yeah, second caution of the night, and just an accident, a racing deal, I would call that, Peter. And like you said, there might be some netcode involved, but Bill Edwards isn't looking to run over Ben Adams there, and I'm sure Ben isn't happy about what happened, but he also understands, and when he looks at it, he'll see that Bill just had a lot of speed there, and well, iRacing thought he was going to hit him, so I guess it just turned him anyway.
Yeah, you can see that, at least you can see the rear end damage on the number 5. I don't know how much of that was caused with that contact with Bill Edwards a little while ago. And of course, you know, Bill and the 5 of Adams have been racing each other for quite some time. They know each other out there on the racetrack, and I'm sure there's not going to be a whole lot of animosity between each of them. I'm sure Bill's going to get on the radio and apologize and all that stuff. We'll see how the administrators call it, whether or not Bill is going to have to start tail end of the longest line, in which case he's going to have to kind of do the butt kicker challenge double. If he's going to have to go to the back of the field, we'll just wait and see how that all gets all plays out here in just a little bit. Alonso Chicano right there is your race leader. Mitchell Adams in second. Then we got the number 13 machine, as it looks like. Now we're doing the choose rule here, Garrett, as some of the drivers are pulling up to the inside. It looks like some of them saying to the outside. I don't know how this all works. I would think this is a logistical nightmare when it comes to clearing black flags, but that's not me. That's not my job, as we're about to go back green flag here shortly.
Yeah, it's something I wanted the administrators of the series to take a look at and see if they could implement, and I guess they decided the short track was the best place to do it. And Matthew Rodriguez and Mike Tellier have done a tremendous job within our Super Speedway series, and I wanted to get a look at it here in the truck, so potentially for our Xfinity stuff, we could run it there. So we'll see. It looks so far so good. Alonso Chicano gets a good jump from that outside lane as we go back green.
Yeah, Alonso Chicano there, just wondering if he dropped down a little bit there, coming across that start-finish line. Mitchell Adams back behind him. Going to clear the number 13 and number 12 there for the second spot. Look at that good hard racing between those drivers as they power on to the front stretch. James Zorello is trying to do all he can to try and gain those spots. Remember, Garrett, he was up there in second, fell back to third on the last restart. He's trying to not lose any more positions here from the number 12 of John Cannizzaro. We've seen the Wild Child be fast here tonight, but this is a group of trucks right here. We're 3 wide. Look at this. The 10 on the high side checks up a little bit, lets the number 13 move up the racetrack. That was not going to work. Those drivers, good heads up, because had we have wadded up a bunch of trucks up at the front of the field, that could have been the big one at Richmond. Good heads up driving by these. Oh, bumpy, and Adams was in the wall.
That might be my favorite call of yours ever, Peter. Bumpy. That was fantastic, but completely accurate.
You don't have to be articulate to get the point across sometimes. You don't have to use fancy words. If people understand what you're trying to say, then people, they can relate with that. I mean, that's all we do, right? We just have to commentate what's going on out there on the racetrack. Let's watch the bumpy. Here on the backstretch, there's the first bump, there's the second bump, and then all the other bumpies are with the outside wall as Mitchell Adams loses quite a bit of track position there. Going to lose a couple of spots, fall back to around the number 99 machine of Philip Scott. In fact, let's go check on, there we go. Click on Mitchell Adams and right on board with him here is got that side-by-side action in front of him. The number 86 machine right in front of Mitchell Adams right there, John Borst. And now Philip Scott gets a little bit loose on the inside line. That's going to allow Mitchell Adams to use that high line to try and get past the number 99 and try and get back towards the top 5.
Yeah, Mitchell's just got to take a breath out there and start picking them off one at a time, get back to where you are. And I think his best opportunity is going to be in that second lane, Peter. Oh boy,
bumpy. And he's bumping into the wall again backwards this time. And again, I think this 3-wide TV ray gun thing is picking up here tonight. Sometimes it is like we have a ray gun here in the booth, and that was definite contact between Philip Scott and Mitchell Adams. Adams now all tore up in his machine. Time for us to go back and watch the replay of this one that I'm sure Mitchell Adams won't want to see here, Garrett. Let's see if we can break down what happened going off towards turn number 1.
Well, we have Mitchell Adams trying to get his spots back here, and Philip Scott's on his inside. Looks like Philip's taking a bit of a higher arc into the corner than you see the 86 of John Borst there. And, well, Peter, I don't know if that was legitimate contact or netcode there, but did the same thing to the 49 and turned him around and sent him back to the outside wall.
Well, once upon a time, I think someone was at this particular racetrack and said that is short track racing. And I think that might be what we just saw there, just short track racing, coming to the forefront here, but unfortunately for the number 49, that is a whole heap of damage. We're back live here. He's coming down pit road to his pit crew. And Stay Tuned Sports saying that was a crew fuffle, as Judge Judy would say. Yeah, crew fuffle. We have crew fuffles, kerfuffles, all of that fuffles here on 3 Wide TV. Just don't type fuffles into YouTube. You might find things that you don't want to see. But anyway, folks, working lap number 68 here tonight. Johnny Williams saying that the number 99 is a hack. I think that is what Mr. Hamlin said this past weekend, if I have read the storylines correctly on Racer.com. But the number 49, Mitchell Adams, heading back out onto the racetrack. So let's check out our Sim Shots driver here tonight. Of course, it is the Sim Shots number 125. There is Andrew Himmelman. Of course, make sure to check out Sim Shots on Facebook for really the best iRacing photographer, if that's even a thing. Maybe you could call it the iRacing screenshotographer. Is that a thing, Garrett? A screenshotographer? Right there, best in the business, Andrew Himmelman and his business, SimShots.
Yeah, SimShots sponsoring this race, so thank you to him for that, putting his name on it, and he does a tremendous job every week getting us pictures, and he does it around his school schedule, and he's a great student and a great young man, and it's awesome to have him here at TNR, and it's awesome to do business with him, because SimShots, to capture this 40-car field, he will send us 30 beautiful pictures tomorrow and just give you a recap of the race like you were in the race almost.
At his Facebook page, I just posted a link to it in the chat here tonight. You can go check it out. Some really cool photos on his SimShots page. Calls himself a photographer, so photographer, screen capturer, picture editor, all that and above. Andrew Himmelman right there. Of course, Tana in the chat saying, yeah, he needs more business. He needs gas money. Who doesn't need gas money right now? Isn't that true? As we close in on the halfway mark here, about 20 more laps until we see the cross flags here at Richmond International Speedway. Looks like we got these drivers doing the lane picking again. Philip Scott in the number 99. Looks like he's going to pick the high line. More drivers picking up their positions. The 01 of Nick Chambrone using the high line as well. The mixed strategies here at Richmond Raceway. Love to see it, Garrett. Just adds a little bit extra dynamic to the field. Maybe some drivers can pick up some free spots. Who knows? But now it's going to be Chicano and the number 13 machine of Lorello on the front row for this restart.
Yeah, nobody's really had anything for Alonso Chicano here on these restarts, so we'll see as he gets another good start, and we're back green. James Lorello going to need these tires to come in for him, but not let the 95 of Chicano get out to too big of a lead in the meantime.
And look who's worked his way up into possibly the second spot. That was the second fastest driver in practice earlier today. That was the number 2 of Ryan Hesgard, one of the Silent Syndicate racing machines, working his way past his teammate James Lorello. And here comes the number 10, Casey Brunson, looking to the inside of Lorello now, as he's going to fall back. Philip Scott in 5th. We just saw him with that contact a little while ago. Jason Freeman now running up almost inside the top 5. He's going to try and take away that 5th position away from Philip Scott here in just a second. Of course, Andrew Himmelman, we saw him up near the front. He lost a bunch of track position, avoiding an incident. He did so masterfully, in fact, but he finds himself back there in 7th. Behind him, though, Garrett, we talked about the fact that this number 31, who shot himself in the foot on lap number 4 here tonight with a trip through the infield grass, we said he's going to have to really need to charge his way up through the field. Somehow, some way here, before the halfway mark, he's gotten back into the top 10, and the number 31 is bearing down on the back of Nick Chambrone and Andrew Himmelman. Really impressive charge and recovery for this truck.
Yeah, the 31 definitely having a good recovery out there, Peter. He has good pace, but I'm sure he's also taking advantage of passing people on pit road, taking advantage of that choose rule. and passing him anywhere he can out there to get himself back towards the front. But all these guys who are coming into the top 10 now have a chance at winning this race.
That they do. So the number 31 will try and squeak on past Nick Chambrone for the 8th position, and not able to quite do so as the number 8 machine holds him up. Meanwhile, James Arello under fire now from the number 20 of Jason Freeman. Freeman, who started this race here tonight all the way back in the 30th, yes, the 30th position, now finds himself inside the top 5 in the 4th position. So really impressive drive for him. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, probably as good of a battle as we have seen for the race lead now in about 40 laps as the 2 of Hesgard has closed in on Alonso Chicano and almost had a run to the high side of the number 95 Chevy Silverado. But at least for now, Chicano continuing to lead. He's now led all 78 laps here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, Alonso Chicano, who I've only really gotten to race with in our Super Speedway series, he's always fast there, but when you come to a short track like Richmond, he would not be the guy at the front of my brain, like, hey, that's who's going to be the favorite tonight. This is the guy that's going to lead all the early laps. Alonso Chicano's doing a heck of a job, and I know you mentioned Jason Freeman. I spoke to Jason Freeman during the week, and I congratulated him on his win, and he told me he's out here to have a conservative run and race for points, and he's steadily made his way through the field, and he's into the top 5 now, Peter.
Started well back here tonight, and now finds himself up towards the front, that's for sure. Philip Scott trying to make some moves there in the number 99, as now he's under fire from the number 31 of Tom Bourne, who's made the pass on Andrew Himmelman. That number 31 truck is absolutely flying here tonight, on a mission after mowing the lawn on the front stretch. Man, wouldn't that be crazy, Garrett, if he can mow the lawn and end up going to victory lane. In fact, he was in victory lane when he spun the number 31 truck around. That's kind of the ironic thing, because victory lane at least used to be here at this racetrack in the infield, as Phillips got there throwing a big block on the Dizzy Merch Toyota Tundra right there of John Borst, as Himmelman smacks the wall coming out of 2.
There's only so many times you can get away with those big blocks before the guy behind you decides that you just don't deserve to race him anymore. So you have to be careful when throwing them and make sure you're faster, or at least going to be faster than the guy you're trying to block. So Philip Scott right now pulled away from the 86, but the 86 has another run like you might hear. Philip might be best to let him go.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Garrett, there's a reason I'm not looking away from this number 99 machine after that big block on John Boris, that maybe it will start to simmer down between these two. Let's just look a little bit further back in the pack. We haven't mentioned these drivers a whole lot. Lucarelli on the high side, Lupe Gonzalez in the number 35 in the middle. Of course, Ben Adams trying to recover himself after being involved in one of the most recent caution flags, as the number 5 Simshots Mobile finds himself back in the 20th position, battling with the 41 of Lucarelli. There's Jeff Price in the number 14, now side by side with Lupe. And now here comes the number 72, Jeff Stewart, into this picture, or 32 of Shane Ewing back in this group. And how about just back behind him, that's, whoa, was that the 41 machine? Might have been Tony, no, I don't think it was Tony Lucarelli. Maybe someone, maybe Tristan Maher, who just had a big moment on the backstretch in his Backcraft machine. Of course, sporting a very similar look to Tony Lucarelli. In fact, you really can't tell the number 98 and the 41 apart beyond their numbers. But I think the 98 had a big wiggle down the backstretch, now racing with Kevin Stone and the number 34, Robert Kinney, who we have not mentioned a whole lot here tonight, running behind Bradley Wilson up there in the number 54 machine. And just good racing here tonight. We've seen a lot of green flag racing. The 45-lap run under green flag to start the event here tonight, before a couple of cautions have plagued the second quarter of the race. But hopefully we can get that green flag run in now, because we've just seen some stellar racing here at Richmond here tonight in the Total Nonstop Racing Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. Looking forward to a green flag run. See these guys on the old tires sliding around out there. It's really going to bring the racing out and the racers out. See who has the best truck control out there and could make up the most positions. I'm just amazed at that 57 of Matthew Rodriguez with a broken leg running that high side. He probably is running the high side, so he doesn't have to hit the brake as much.
Garrett, I'm just gonna go back here and see if we can. Uh-oh, I think we have caution flag out there on the racetrack. We do. Let's see what happened here. Philip Scott and Nick Chambrone made contact. That's what I wanted to go back and get the replay of. Now let's see if this was kind of the start of an accident. And let's see here. Yes, it was. Chambrone had checked up because of that contact, and then a hard-charging pack of trucks behind him. Robert Kenny goes around into the wall there. Looks like Bradley Wilson, the 54, also getting involved in it. Shane Ewing going to the top side up there. He has to squeak his way on through. Garrett, that's really unfortunate. Ooh, man, those trucks just need to stay where they are. There's the 50 high Steven Doziak on the scene late, getting it stopped. But Garrett, that's kind of a tough one because it all started really one whole corner before with the contact between the 01 of Chambrone and Philip Scott in the 99.
Yeah, that's definitely where it started, Peter. And Chambrone was just trying to get back up to speed, and Robert Kenny, he ended up getting hit from behind. But like none of the guys coming onto the scene late were doing anything wrong. I mean, it was still under green. They're out there racing, and you don't know unless you're told or you see it. But when you're battling with guys, you don't know how slow that truck is that just essentially got pushed up the track by the 99.
Yeah, just going to see if we can go back maybe a little bit further to see these two. Because at this point, they're side by side. This is a full lap before. See if there was any bad blood that may have initiated this contact. But it looks like Chambrone gets on past Philip Scott. Now Scott cuts back underneath right there. We'll put it up in the blimp cam. And as they race towards turn number 3, you see Scott there hugging that yellow line. Back end might have just been starting to come around on him a little bit. You can see Garrett just doesn't look too stable. But yeah, Chambrone, I think, comes down the racetrack. They make contact. And not really sure there's a whole lot that the number 99 of Philip Scott could have done there. Then, checks up. He saves the truck there. Now we're going to put this into slow motion. In fact, there's already, I think, been contact, because I think Kenny saw what was happening, tried to check up, might have got a tap from the number 54 machine, and then by the time they get to turn number 1, the 54 gets into the back of the 34, and it is on from there. Chambrone doing a stellar job of saving the 01 not once, but twice in a single lap. Now let's see if we can go back and get a look from Robert Kenny's position here, because I think there was more contact than what we initially thought. Let's see, looking out back. Ooh, there was definitely rubbing with the number 54 machine, and I wonder if the 54 said, I don't appreciate that, and it kind of snowballed 2 and 1.
Yeah, Peter, definitely more to the story there than originally thought. And just when you thought we had it all figured out, they throw another wrench into our detective skills. And here we go, an even better look at the incident between the 34, the 54, and whoever else might have got involved. Maybe we'll find somebody else, Peter.
Yeah, and just a double bump. What was bumpity bump? I think this is another instance of bumpity bump, because I think the 34 got into the back of the 54, loosened him up, and then the 34 and the 54 made more contact on the front stretch, and I think that, the 01's checked up, and so the 34 now checks up, and I think the 54 said, you know what, buddy, I don't exactly appreciate that, and kind of puts him up in the wall, and they all make contact, and caution flag waves again. I think you said it right, Garrett. There was more to that story than initially meets the eye. But meanwhile, folks, pace car is on pit road. Green flag is about to wave once again. Drivers did come down and make a pit stop. The 99 machine, however, Philip Scott did stay out. He is your race leader, but he is on old tires here. Everyone else around him is on fresh tires. How's that going to work out for the driver of the National Ninja League machine? We'll find out. He is your race leader in his Ford F-150, becoming, I believe, only the second driver to lead laps here tonight. But Alonso Chicano, who's led the majority of the race, now underneath and back to the front.
Curious strategy by the 99 there. We'll see what ends up happening. And with the amount of friends he's probably... Oh, evidence back in the back, Peter. Let's hold that point. as James Lorello spins her around, but doesn't make any contact with the outside wall.
Somehow, some way. Well, I think the drivers might have missed him, but Tony Lucarelli also got turned around. I think with all these drivers scrambling to avoid the number 13 machine, unfortunately, caution flag back in the air again. Let's see if we can figure out what happened, however, to James Lorello as they headed off towards turn number 1. Has Andrew Himmelman back behind him. And, number 8 might have just give a double nudge to the number 13 machine, got him loose. Looks like John Borst might have got a piece of it. And then all these other trucks, I think Kevin Stone also might have been down there, maybe involved in that accident as well. So, again, some bumpy. So, let's see what happened here from onboard with Tony Lucarelli. We'll see the accident happen in front. Watch the 77 of Kevin Stone off to your right, because I think he tried to come down the racetrack. He did. They make contact, and Kevin Stone kind of goes around, and they somehow do some musical ballet or something on the backstretch, kind of joining hands and half spinning around. And fortunately for the 41, not necessarily pretty ballet on the backstretch, but that's kind of interesting. Let's see if we can see that from above.
Yeah, let's watch this above. It looks like these guys are just going to try to either slow down or avoid other trucks who are slowing down a little quicker. And yeah, Kevin Stone went for clear low, and low was not clear. And that's a tough break for Tony Lucarelli, who doesn't get to race asphalt with us much. And I appreciate him being here. I hope he could keep it going straight and runs all the laps tonight.
I feel like we could put that to some ballet music right there with the 77 and the 41. Unfortunately, Kevin Stone and Tony Lucarelli going to lose quite a bit of track position. But let's see if we can see what's happening out there on the racetrack right now. Can confirm the number 99 of Philip Scott elected to come down pit road, so he's going to give up all that track position. Kind of a head-scratcher there, Garrett, for the number 99. Philip Scott now going to be all the way back in the 25th position. Really with not a whole lot of benefit, I would think, on his part. We are also hearing that on that particular restart, we will get one more look of that restart, because it was not a good restart for Cameron Perez. But was he pinched? Ooh, he might have been pinched there. It might have been 3 wide. Goes down into the grass, spins it around. This did not... I don't believe this is what brought out the caution, because he was off the racing surface. But the good news for Cameron is the fact that by the time he got towards turn number 2, they had all wadded him up, so he could have been involved in that big wad of drivers, and luckily he was not. It doesn't look like a whole lot of damage on the number 48 here tonight, but we are now on lap number 100. TJ Buck joining us in the chat here tonight. TJ, how's it going? Hope all is well with you. He's saying someone already made the hack joke. Yeah, Johnny beat you to it about 30 laps ago or so at this point. But TJ, thanks for joining on in here on 3Y TV. How's your night going? Let us know what you think of Richmond. I know you've raced here before on 3Y TV. It's one of my favorite racetracks, Garrett. It's one of those that really does take some skill to get around, because I think this is a racetrack that can really come out and grab you if you're not careful.
Absolutely, Peter. You have to be smooth here at Richmond, whether it's passing cars or just even the simplest thing, getting back on the throttle after making the corner. This track could bite you quick if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have patience out there.
Well, speaking of patience, these drivers have been mildly patient under the caution flag, and we're about to go back green here. So there goes the pace car on pit road, and we are back racing. And Bill Edwards in the number 50, who is, of course, participating for the Butt Kicker Challenge. He now finds himself up towards the top 5 for really the first time all night long. Definitely really cool to see Bill Edwards moving his way back up towards the front. There he is. Got to give a big shout out to Butt Kicker, www.thebuttkicker.com, for sponsoring the Butt Kicker Challenge and possibly giving out a little bit of money here tonight if Bill Edwards can finish inside the top 3 after starting on the pole, going all the way to the back of the field, he can pick up some extra cash. There he is in a really cool looking paint scheme, racing now with Mitchell Adams, who's no slouch here tonight.
Neither one of them's a slouch out there, Peter, that's for sure. But Bill's truck has had a lot of pace, especially in that second groove or outside lane, whatever we'd like to call it at this point. And it looks like he's going to complete this pass on Mitchell Adams and work his way to the front as we have a battle for second place.
Yeah, Jason Freeman now in the Mason-Dixon racing machine right there. Mason-Dixon Cornhole on the side of that 20 truck, trying to battle around Casey Brunson for second. Not able to do so. He slots back in line right in front of the number 2 machine of Ryan Hesgard. Andrew Himmelman riding in the 5th spot right now in front of the number 50 machine. A little bit of contact perhaps a little bit further back between Mitchell Adams and Nick Chambrone. And Garrett, you can tell this is a short track because we're seeing quite a few banged up race trucks at this stage of the race. Ben Adams has raced his way back up to the 13th position as well. That is 2 spots above where he started at the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, we have a lot of redemption stories out here tonight, Peter. Guys who have spun, guys who have been wrecked, making their way back towards the front because, like you said, short track racing, the damage doesn't really affect you as much as it will at some bigger racetracks. So good recovery by a lot of these guys, and Matthew Rodriguez was having a good run. Looks like he found the wall there a little bit.
Yeah, he found that good old iRacing wall glue on the front stretch. Sometimes that wall will come out and grab you, and it feels like your right side of your car has a parachute out of it because you'll just be dragged back by the wall. You lose all types of pace. He lost a couple of spots there, a good number of spots, as that group of trucks he was racing with were all bunched up. He's now racing with Kevin Stone in the number 77. You see Desert Hobbies on the back of his machine. That is the battle right now for about the 16th or so position. Robert Kenny in the Wingstop number 34 right in front of him, and then you'll find Tristan Maher in the number 98. But man, these trucks, Garrett, they're racing so close with one another here tonight. Really putting on a stellar show for the fans. We've had a couple of caution flags. We've had some contact. But, oh, speaking of contact, John Borst back there. Holy cow. We got one car in the fence, one car riding the fence, and John Borst has said hello to the 3-wide TV camera in turn number 3. He's trying to get it going, but Borst, I think, has been caught by the good old iRacing chain link fence right there.
Peter, this is going to be an incredible replay to watch because it went from like a 2 to a 10 very quickly, and John Borst wound up caught in the catch fence.
So we're trying to get the replay lined up for you folks here on the channel, and let's see. Looks like the 72 I think got loose out of 2, and John Borst, holy smoke, straight up into that number 13. There's the Polyhedral Cathedral number 23 at the bottom of your screen. He's going to drive around. That's Bob Giaquinto, and yeah, that 3-wide TV camera got a walloping from the number 86 truck there. Number 13 of James Dorello trying to do his best Tony Hawk impression as well. Let's see if we can go back a little bit further, and let's go on board here with the Dizzy merch machine. In fact, let's not. Let's here we go. This will show the picture exactly what happened. The 72 did hit the wall, and all of a sudden the hydraulics in the number, they don't actually have hydraulics, folks, but like they had hydraulics, the 86 gets launched into the air, gets a little love tap from the number 48 behind him, and then a second love tap from the 48 just turns him straight up into James Dorello. Nothing he could have done. And then right there's the 3-wide TV camera, and man, look at the number 13 machine. There's that Tony Hawk 50-50 grind. He's going to somehow make his way back on the racetrack. I don't know how. He makes his way back on the racetrack. Oops, sorry about that. Hit the camera. But that's a fun one. Let's see if we can go on board with the number 13 of James Dorello right here and see his look at all this mess, Garrett, because there's nothing really he could have done. There's the initial contact. There's the bumpity-bumpities. And then that's more than a bumpity-bumpity. That is a slam-bam-bumpity right there. And gets himself kind of perched at an odd angle. And, oh, I thought he was able to continue on. He did not. He took a tow back to pit road. What a shame for Borst and Lorello.
That is one of the biggest accidents I've seen here at Richmond. Peter, I know you've called a lot of races here, but it's not often that you get to reference Tony Hawk's moves while watching trucks wreck into the outside wall.
Yeah, that's for sure. And there's unfortunately a banged up number 86 machine. There you go. Nick, if you're still in the chat, just said for sure. So
John Borst. Yeah, John, not Nick. John.
Yeah, well, Nick was in the chat earlier, and he was the one who came up with the drinking game that I had to say for sure. I just said it again. Maybe by the end of the broadcast, he'll be completely toasted in the chat. But anyway, Nick, hopefully you're still around. Anyway, the pace car lights, they're twinkling atop the iRacing pace car. We might need a little bit extra time to clean up all that mess. But in all of these caution flags, we're right now, I think, hovering at about 30 or so trucks on the lead lap. Steve Bivacqua, I think, is the last truck on the lead lap. Hondo Longmire, first truck, one lap down. And I'm just seeing James Arello has gone down now 5 laps, unfortunately, with his damage. John Borst, 4 laps. And that's a big shame for Lorello. We saw a lot of pace out of the number 13 truck earlier in the event.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaker for James Lorello. And it's, like you said earlier, short track racing. You don't know what you're going to get caught up in, and hardly anyone at the end of the night will have all their fenders intact. Some better than others, and unfortunately for James, it looks like his night, his chance at winning is over with for this week.
So, if you're paying attention, the pace car lights stop twinkling and is on pit road, which means we're going back to green flag racing, and Alonso Chicano, like he was launched out of a cannon here, gets out front of the number 10 machine. Back behind him, as Casey Brunson, Jason Freeman now side by side, but caution flag is waving again, Garrett. A quick yellow here after going green. Something must have happened towards the back of the pack, and perhaps this time it might have been the number 48 actually bringing out the caution flag this time. Last time we saw him spin around, no caution flag came out, but this time I believe that is the reason for the caution. Just spins it around. Don't see anything else happening out there on the racetrack. So we will have to re-rack him and do it all again, but that will give another driver the opportunity to get back on the lead lap by means of the lucky dog. And very easy to do that, Garrett. Let's see if we can go back maybe one more time on board with Cameron Perez here, and let's jump on board and just watch how quickly this truck whips around on him.
Yeah, it's a helpless feeling, Peter, and I think we've all done it here, whether in the race or even in practice for the really good drivers. You're going to do it because you have to test the limits and see how hard you can get back on the gas, especially when you're racing for position, or in this case on a restart, tires aren't up to temp, and that just happens.
So cars, or trucks rather, out there on the racetrack, getting ready to go back green here in just a little bit. This has had a negative effect on Bill Edwards. In fact, what's happened to Bill Edwards in his number 50 machine? Just looking for him on the scoring pylon. He actually just came down pit road on lap number 111. So he was on pit road a little while ago. One of the few drivers who did elect to come down pit road, believe it or not, came down pit road with Andrew Himmelman and appears to have put 4 fresh tires on the number 50 truck. So he's trying something a little bit different than our leaders. Garrett, I don't know if you know how many sets of tires they have here tonight, but that's presumably his 3rd set, I would believe. We can check that, well...
So, yeah, Peter, they have 3 sets of tires in the pits. So they had the one they started the race with for 4 total sets, 3 sets in the pits. So if he pitted 3 times, he should be out of new tires.
So 16th place machine is Bill Edwards on the chart. And he has made 3 pit stops here tonight. 14.7, a 14.9, and a 14.9 second pit stop. So 3 pit stops in that range tell me that he's used all his 3 sets of Goodyear rubber. So could that come back to bite him? I don't know. Alonso Chicano still has a set of tires on pit road. Casey Brunson still has a set of tires on pit road. John Freeman as well. Ben Adams, he might be out of tires as well, although he did get involved in an accident, so he might be, that second pit stop there that was 23.3 seconds might have actually have been just to repair his machine. Similar deal with the 11th place driver, Matthew Rodriguez. We've seen him clip the wall. So it could be interesting to see what some of these drivers who just came down pit road, whether or not their strategy will play out as the race goes on. But Garrett, we have seen caution flags breeding cautions. Maybe that's what they're thinking, that we're going to go mostly caution to the end of the race, which means you're under caution. You aren't using those tires a whole lot. So maybe that's what is in the back of their mind, trying to get that late racetrack position. I don't know, but Bill Edwards here in his S2R number 50 playing a different strategy, that is for sure, from the likes of Casey Brunson and Alonso Chicano up at the top of the field. So, in the good news, we're going to line them up again. Hopefully we make it to the backstretch this time. You never really know. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But it's been a great race so far here on 3Y TV. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here in the Total Nonstop Racing Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Sim Shots 180 as we are back green. Wow! Alonso Chicano there, Garrett, really slowed up the entire field. You could see the accordion ripple through pretty much the entire pack.
Yeah, he was getting launched out of a cannon there, Peter, and this time he brought them back for a slow restart. And it was just enough for him to keep the lead there and get away from the battle behind him. But, we see a truck in the wall, Peter. I hope he got it straight.
Jeff Price going up there to the top side of the racetrack. We're 3 wide towards the back of the pack. We're still having problems towards the back half of the pack, but we might have had 4 wide on the front stretch. Steven Doziak might have dove down there on the inside of the racetrack. There's Jeff Price. Now we got some trucks scattering here on the backstretch. That was a wicked, wicked restart, but somehow we sort things out. There's the 00 machine right there on your screen. It's the 00 on the side of that truck, but it's the number 11 on the story pile, and that is Ricky Williams back in the Total Nonstop Racing series. We really want to say it's great to have him back. Meanwhile, in front of them, some big racing moves amongst some of these drivers, and Garrett, the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman, first driver on the fresher tires. Bill Edwards behind him, also on the fresher tires. They're trying to make quick use of these trucks in front of them.
Absolutely. Pass them right after the yellow. If the field's bunched up, it's your best opportunity. And these guys, you don't want to waste the good on those tires. And Andrew Hillman and Bill Edwards will be aggressive, but they'll be calculated. And they'll make these passes and get back towards the front. But it's a curious strategy, Peter. They're hoping for a green run here because you do not want to be that team left without a set of tires at the end of the race if you get a caution with about 25 to go or so.
And it's kind of hard to get into the heads of Himmelman and Edwards. What are they expecting? Are they were they expecting this race to go green flag to the end? My answer to that would probably be not, because we've had caution flag after caution flag after caution flag over the last 20 laps or so. But maybe that's what they're hoping for. I think what they were hoping for were caution flags, and caution flag after caution flag after caution flag, so they could get that track position once everyone comes down pit road, and maybe they'd be on fairly similar footing to these other trucks. What they don't want to see, Garrett, is maybe 30 laps of good, hard green flag racing, and then a caution flag, because that would give all these other trucks about 30 lap fresher tires, which is enough for an advantage. But only time will tell to see how the Sim Shots 180 will play out here tonight, as we have a caution flag now waving. Jeff Price in the number 14 machine. We hear something has happened to him. Let's check this one out. Looking to the inside here, Fernando Matos in his Ford F-150 coming out onto the backstretch. Oh, the 14 gets loose and into the inside wall, spins back up the racetrack just enough to bring out the caution flag on the backstretch. And now the field is left with a difficult choice here, Garrett. Do you pit or not?
Well, Peter, that's why you get paid the big bucks up here, because I don't have a clue. But going back to Jeff Price, he seemed to be battling a wicked handling truck for a majority of the night, and he held on to it for about 130 laps here before it finally won the battle and put him into the inside wall.
And I think the answer is you come down pit road. Alonso Chicano coming down. We do have some drivers staying out. We'll highlight who those are here in just a minute. But Tom Borden coming down in the number 31, the 77 machine. Kevin Stone coming out pit road. John Cannizzaro down pit road. Shane Ewing in his pit box. We're seeing about 14 drivers stay out. Chicano is going to win the race off pit road. The 10, the 2, the 20, and then a close battle between Maher and the number 31 of Tom Borden back behind. But Garrett, I'm seeing about 14 drivers who elected to stay out as we're trying to dial up something on pit road, but it wasn't anything of any interest. So the 8 of Himmelman is your race leader, as we have live scenes at Richmond. He was on pit road on lap 111, so 20 laps ago now. And those drivers who just came off pit road, Alonso Chicano all the way back in 15th. So, I got to say that's, in my opinion, a good call. I think it's going to work out to the favor of Bill Edwards, the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman. But then you have the number 99 of Philip Scott, who's doing something completely different. Garrett, he has not pitted since lap number 97 here tonight. So he's saving a set of tires for later in the race. The bad news is basically every driver at this point has made their final stop but Philip Scott. So when Philip decides to come down to make his final pit stop, yes, he'll have fresher tires, but he will have to charge through the field and basically do the butt kicker challenge in less than 50 laps.
Yeah, Peter, if you remember back to the race you called in the National Sim Racing Association here on 3YTV, Philip Scott saved the set of tires to the end of that race and may have had the truck to beat if not for a untimely yellow by his teammate Tristan Maher. So Philip could have that in the back of his mind, thinking, I'm going to do the same thing I did. But the problem, like you said, for Philip is that with all these, well, not with all these yellows, there wasn't that many, but with the amount of yellows we've had, 30 cars on the lead lap, it might be a hill too steep to climb.
Also on Tristan Maher's strategy, we do have a couple of other drivers on that strategy as well. Ricky Williams, Fernando Matos, and Hondo Longmire. They all last pitted around Philip Scott in the 90 to 97 lap range. So they're all saving an extra set of tires. But the pace car lights have turned off, and it doesn't look like a lot of these drivers are doing this lane choice. And this is kind of interesting to see how these drivers are going to line up for this restart here, Gear, because this might give some of the drivers on fresher tires an opportunity to get a little bit closer to the front of the field.
Yeah, take the opportunity to pass the cars while they're under pace speed, because if you get strung out in their green, you might not have the same opportunity. So I don't blame these guys for trying something different. The inside line didn't have many vehicles there, and I think we even have Fernando Matos up in the second row. So some comers and goers, Peter. We'll see what works out for them as we go back green.
Green flag is back in the air for the umpteenth time here tonight. We've seen some stellar racing. Andrew Himmelman is your race leader in the SimShot Chevy Silverado. Philip Scott second, side by side with Casey Miller in the 05 machine. Casey Miller sporting that red Chevy Silverado. And then Bill Edwards, who wants to finish inside the top 3 here tonight. Look at Alonso Chicano. He's on the fresh tires. He's led by far the most laps here tonight, trying to get around the number 55 of Steven Doziak. And now we're 3 wide, a little bit of contact. Tom Bourne gets pushed way up the racetrack, and more contact back behind him. Who was that? That, I think, was... I couldn't quite tell who that was. That was Steve. Was that Steve? No, it was not Steve Bavacqua who got pushed up. It looks like the number 38 of Vincent Valvano, as we got one car in the wall at a complete crawl, and somehow, some way, green flag stays out. That was the number 43 of Hondo Longmire up there, pretty much stopped against the wall. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to Hondo.
Yeah, let's see what happened to Hondo out here, Peter. It looks like he might have to wait another week to end the Dizzy Motorsports reign here at TNR, because Richmond has not been kind to him so far. And he's just going to fall victim to Alonso Chicano and those fresh tires, and it's time to go. And then he just gets pinballed. Everybody just wants a piece of Hondo Longmire. I guess their Goon Championship Wrestling will have a couple new entries. Maybe we get a Royal Rumble going by next week.
Everyone wants a piece of Hondo Longmire. That will be an interesting storyline. But Himmelman has used that to really scoot out on the field now, up to a 1.38 second lead on Casey Miller. Bill Edwards still struggling to get around Philip Scott back there. Then Mitchell Adams, who pitted on lap 111. And then you got the driver who just came off pit road, the number 95, Alonso Chicano. He's already worked his way up to 6th, Garrett. He's gone from 14th to 6th here in just a handful of laps. Now trying to go 3 wide around the outside, and he's going to get 2 for here. He's now fighting himself up to 4th. What a amazing charge on the fresh tires by the number 95.
Alonso Chicano, that was an impressive move, and he's looking to the inside of Bill Edwards. He's passing trucks everywhere out there on those fresh tires, but he had speed all race long, and he's still in contention here with 40 to go.
Ben Adams also on fresher tires. Contact between Jason Freeman and Ben Adams, and Adams is in the wall, and there's more contact. And the 20 goes around, caution flag waves here at Richmond with 40 laps to go.
I don't think this is the first time that those two have gotten into each other in their racing history, and looks like after the contact was made, they just finished each other off, but tight battle here. And Peter, slow-mo. This will help me out a lot because, when it goes too fast, I have to rely on you to give us top-notch analysis. Yep. That's too little racetrack and too many trucks 3 wide. Freeman's entry was a little higher, I think, than Ben was expecting with the number 10 below them. And Freeman almost had it saved here till Ben tried to get going again and finished him off. Maybe on purpose, maybe not. We'll see.
If I learned anything from the movie Zombieland, it is to double tap, and maybe there was a little bit of double tapping going on there. And unfortunately, we are hearing that Adams's engine, I think, has grenaded. So that is a tough break for Ben Adams. Let's see if we can go back a little bit further and see if we can see that contact from Ben Adams's perspective as they headed towards turn number 3 right here. And let's hit that play button. Right here, just had that contact. I don't know if Adams knew he was 3 wide. I don't know if he knew he didn't have as much space as he did, but unfortunately, that's you can see smoke coming out the back of the number 5 truck, and that will be a night done for him. And maybe it was a 3 wide TV ray gun coming out again as well. We've seen that in action here tonight at Richmond Raceway. The number 8 of Andrew Himmelman is your race leader. Casey Miller is in 3rd, but Alonso Chicano on those fresh tires went from 14th to 3rd in just a handful of laps. But now, Garrett, we're going to have some drivers come back down pit road. Philip Scott is one of those. Just came off pit road on fresher tires. He has 13 lap fresher tires than most of the trucks in front of him. Bill Edwards came down pit road. I think that Edwards... Did you say they had 3 sets of tires on pit road or just 2?
3 sets on pit road, Peter. To the best of my knowledge, when I looked at the server settings today, I saw 4 sets total. So that's what I'm going with, Peter. I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time, but...
Well, we'll bring this up one more time. This is now getting messy, this graphic. But down there in the 18th position, and you can't see it because it hasn't quite come up yet, but there's a tiny itty-bitty sliver next to the 18th place of
we have
Edwards'
a correction,
name.
Peter.
Okay.
They have 4 sets of tires in the pits, according to Steven Doziak. 4 sets in the pits, plus the one in the truck. So that changes a lot. I wish I had this information beforehand, Peter, but now we know. Everybody's up to speed. 4 sets in the pits.
Everyone's up to speed. So, unfortunately, that's something that I'm unable to see from up here in the broadcast booth. So, as that gets changed, then sometimes we don't exactly catch wind of it. But nonetheless, a lot of tires out there and some different strategies to boot with it. As we're down to now 35 laps to go. Looks like the pace car lights have stopped to twinkling. So we'll get a restart here with 34 to go. Thank you for the heads up there, Doze, out there on the racetrack in that number 55 machine. Doing an all right job of keeping it clean. He probably needs a new pair of underwear after some of the things he has seen here tonight. In the Total Nonstop Racing number 55 truck. Doze, I still don't know about your number placement. I'll leave that to the chat to decide about that number placement, but always sporting a different number placement relative to everyone else in the field on your number 55 trucks. But up at the front of the field, Andrew Himmelman is going to lead us back to green. He was last on pit road on lap 111, and he's going to have a hard charging Alonso Chicano, who's led a majority of the race here tonight, charging back behind him. And if Himmelman's not careful here, G, he's going to lose the lead very quickly because Chicano is fast.
Yeah, Chicano's fast, and I think it's just a matter of when he gets the lead. Andrew's a tremendous racer, but when tires aren't equal, it's going to be a heck of an uphill battle to hold off that 95. But let's keep an eye on some of these guys who just pitted, and they're also on fresh tires, because if Alonso proved anything as he takes the lead, that you could make that pass 3 wide, 4 wide, whatever it takes if you have good enough tires.
Alonso Chicano will clear Andrew Himmelman before they make it to turn number 3 and will get back to the race lead. Quite rightfully has been the fastest truck all night long and is playing his cards right here as the lap count winds down. We'll come around to 30 laps to go in just a few laps, and look at all these trucks race down the backstretch, some of them banging off the turn 2 wall, folks. It's go time here at Richmond, and all these drivers side by side towards the pack, towards the back of the pack. Pretty darn impressive. Here is a couple of drivers up there. There's Tristan Maher behind the number 49 of Mitchell Adams. Adams in the number 49 did not elect to come down pit road in his machine, unlike some of the other drivers like Bill Edwards who came down to get fresh tires. Adams stayed out. He now finds himself in the 6th spot, but Garrett, I'm starting to see these drivers, different sets of tires. Here comes the number 10 machine. That is Casey Brunson looking to the inside of 3 wide, trying to get all they can get here as the lap count winds down and get all they can get out of these Goodyear tires.
I don't know what the correct phrase is, Peter, but you see a lot of power moves out there. Just guys just turning left under guys when they have a run and making it work for them. It's pretty incredible. But this is like a restrictor plate pack here. These guys cannot get away from each other.
Yeah, they cannot get away from one another, that's for sure. Alonso Chicano now up to about a 0.4 of a second lead. Himmelman still holding on to second. Tom Bourne, though, in the number 31 machine, we saw him make a big mistake early in the race on lap number 4. If you're just now joining us, went through the infield grass after spinning out of turn number 4, did not bring out a caution flag, fell all the way to dead last, 40th position. We had 40 starters here tonight, and the number 31 machine was in 40th spot for a brief period of time. He's now raced his way up into 3rd, hounding the back of the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman. Now looking to the inside. He was last on pit road on lap number 129, so fresher tires on the number 31 truck. And Garrett, I think you could really see that he can get that power down maybe just a little bit sooner than Andrew Himmelman, and that allowed him the ability to get his nose out front of Himmelman. But as I say that, Himmelman, they make contact, they bounce off of one another. Himmelman's trying to save it. He goes up the racetrack in front of the number 2 and into the wall, and he gets flipped upside down, barrel rolling down the racetrack, gets clobbered again, and clobbered again, and clobbered again, and clobbered almost again. And we're under caution.
Well, as they say, Peter, that escalated quickly. And it looks like Andrew Himmelman has decided to tow back the pit road. And that's a heartbreaker. He was doing such a good job hanging tight there. And just contact leads to more contact and mistakes and a chain reaction. A lot of good trucks are caught up in this one.
And nowhere for the number 2 truck to go. And, man, just got absolutely clobbered there by the number 57 machine of Matthew Rodriguez. That, like you said, escalated extremely quickly. And this is going to be another one where we're going to have to go to the 3 wide TV blimp cam and Let's go back just a little bit more. We'll throw this one into our good old 3-wide TV slow-mo and see whether or not there was going to be any contact between these drivers, because Garrett, this could be a case of net code. I think there was a little bit of net code involved in those trucks. And unfortunately, the number 8 of Himmelman, he did everything he could do to try and save the truck. There just so happens to be an inside wall here, and then he gets flung up the racetrack right in front of Ryan Hesgard, who has no place to go but into the side of the number 8. And unfortunately for two trucks, the 2 and the 8, who have both had great nights up there in the top 10 the entire race, their night is done. Look at the 50, Bill Edwards scooting underneath the number 8. I think the 8 just barrel rolled over him. See Matthew Rodriguez in the 57 getting a big chunk of it. There he gets hit again. There comes a 24, gets hit again. I think the 24 tried to get underneath him, but made a little bit of contact there with Jason Freeman. Just a tough accident for some drivers who've been up there at the front of the field majority of the race.
Yeah, Peter, it's one of those deals where Andrew Himmelman, I think if you're in his shoes, you can't fault them for racing hard for that position. But you also have to think you're on older tires than the guys you're racing with. Driving that aggressively there probably isn't going to pay off in your favor. And that was just one of those deals between all of that and the net code. And it's a bad situation and probably something that was avoidable. That if you consider who's racing for a championship, who's out there just collecting points, it was something that was a little bit on the unnecessary side as far as even pinching that truck that quickly. That pass was going to happen, it seemed like, no matter how hard Andrew was going to fight it.
One last replay of this, and woo, that was close. I was on board with Bill Edwards, who just barely squeaked on by that accident. But the pace car lights continue to twinkle here. Your current rundown: Alonso Chicano and Tristan Maher, Garrett. Tristan started this race in the 39th position. Meanwhile, Tom Bourne in the number 31 actually came down pit road to take on fresh tires, but a couple of trucks came down pit road with him. Not sure what actually happened to Tom Bourne, because let's just see here real fast. We'll put it in 3-wide TV fast mode. We don't often use the 3-wide TV fast mode, but we'll use 3-wide TV fast mode to see if we can figure out what happened to the number 31 machine, because he came on pit road as the first truck, and I can only think he missed his pit box or something, because he just had a really long stop. No, he had his marks and everything. Just a really long stop on that truck, and he did not come off of pit road as the first truck off pit road. First truck off pit road who came down and pitted is, I believe, Kevin Stone in the number 77 truck all the way back in 17th, but the pace car lights have turned off. It heads down pit road, and Garrett, we're about to re-rack him and do it all again. 20 laps to go at Richmond.
20 laps to go. Alonso Chicano's on the loud pedal, and here we go. But Tristan Maher, good run from 39th to 2nd. I just wish I was out there to cause a caution like he did when I was running 2nd here, Peter.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that number 98 has had a good night. There we go. I don't know if Nick Cohan is still in the chat, but I said it again. I'm trying to be cognizant of it here tonight, folks. But, oh, we got one car going on. Oh, no. It's Tom Bourne. We were just talking about him and about how he had recovered since he did exactly the same thing on lap number 4 here tonight. And the G Fuel number 31, that could be the nail in the coffin, unfortunately, for his run here tonight. Meanwhile, Bill Edwards, remember, he is participating in our Butt Kicker Challenge here tonight. Won the pole award, dropped all the way to the back of the field before the drop. The green flag started, shotgun on the field. If he finishes in the top 3 here tonight, he gets some extra cash, and he is now running in the 6th spot behind John Cannizzaro and Tristan Maher, looking now to the inside of John Cannizzaro. So we keep our eyes on the number 50. Big shout out to our friends at thebuttkicker.com for putting together that extra bundle of cash as we race, and they make contact. Cannizzaro shoots up the racetrack. as the 3-wide TV laser cannon might have struck again. Now Doze is getting loose in the 55 back there in the shot, as this is some hard racing, Garrett. Can you tell that the lap count is winding down?
Yeah, lap count's winding down, and if anybody in the chat was curious how well a one-legged man does in an ass-kicking contest, look no further than that 57 of Matthew Rodriguez, who is out there inside the top 10 on one leg.
Yeah, if you missed it at the top of the show, we mentioned the fact that Matthew Rodriguez has a broken appendage. He's racing effectively with one leg here tonight and doing very well in that, inside the top 10 as they run right now, plus 22 spots from the drop of the green flag for the Steak and Shake Toyota Tundra. You're not missing anything up at the front of the field. Chicano up to about a half-second lead on Casey Brunson, who is about 9/10 of a second in front of Shane Ewing in the number 32 machine. So a good run here tonight for the Rayovac Toyota Tundra. There he is. Then about another 7/10 of a second back to Maher. Bill Edwards is now up into 5th, and then this logjam of trucks that reminds me of a trolley train. If you are familiar with Formula One terminology, a trolley train is because no driver could ever get around Jarno Trulli. And you just got these long trains of Formula One cars behind Jarno Trulli because he was just really good at not letting anyone past him. But we got this long relatively single file train of trucks as we go now double file a little bit further back with Jason Freeman getting to the outside of Jamar Duma. It's been kind of a quiet night for him as Steve Bavacqua now makes contact with Jason Freeman, and Bavacqua has a wiggle of the steering wheel and keeps it going straight. What was that again, Garrett? Bumpity bumpity?
Yeah, bumpity bumpity is right, Peter. There's a lot of bumping throughout the field. It doesn't seem to matter if they're in the front, in the back. It's just bound to happen here at Richmond, but for the most part, these guys are doing a good job keeping it straight. Mitchell Adams with a heck of a run here, trying to make a pass.
Mitchell Adams somehow makes it stick after they get bumpity-bumpity, but caution flag has come out. Maybe there's some more bumpity-bumpity going out there in the racetrack. We're hearing that something has happened to the number 55 of Steven Doziak Jr., as he heads, the number 97 of Tellier gets loose, and the 77, 97 and the 77, and holy smokes, the 55 gets thrown across the racetrack, and other trucks start to beat and bang with one another as they try and avoid the carnage, but not the first time we've seen a car launched up towards the wall in turn number 3 tonight.
No, not the first time, and not the first time that Doze and Mike were involved in an accident together, whether be just them two or just collaterally, because they always joke about, hey, at least I didn't get into you this week, Mike. Well, here they go.
Look at Casey Miller scooting on through in the 05 machine. He just kind of went up through the middle of two cars that were trying to wreck, and I don't think he really helped the situation, but he somehow squeaked on through. Let's see if we can get a look from on board the 05 machine, because that this is going to be something here. Garrett, watch this. Watch what happens right in front of him. This might give us a good indication of exactly what happened. And the 97 and the 77 were tight coming off the corner, and I think maybe a little bit of neck code right there between the 77 and the 97. And then watch what the 05 does. He just says, okay, I'll go past Kevin Stone right here, and then he gets clipped by the 97 who was trying to wreck, and then they do more wrecking behind him, and Casey Miller says, all right, I'm on through. You guys go back there and just completely blocked the track. You can see Steven Doziak getting launched up into the air in the 55, and then it was kind of on from there. Steve Bavacqua and the Peeps Marshmallow machine squeaking around for some good wreck avoidance. We'll go back and see if we can get this one from Bavacqua's position. Where is he? There he is, and we'll see what happened right in front of him. That's Jamar Dumas and the number 24 machine of Fernando Matos. And actually kind of seems like the seas parted for Bavacqua as he worked his way on through that. He's now up to 14th here tonight.
Wow, that was a tremendous job by the driver of the Peeps machine, Bavacqua, getting through that, because it looked like a logjam there behind the wreck, and he just was one of the lucky ones along with Casey Miller to get through that.
So, folks, if you're just now joining us here tonight in the Total Nonstop Racing Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series, so we got 8 laps to go at Richmond. We had a fantastic opening, 45 laps, 40 trucks, out there on the racetrack here tonight, and we've had some great racing, some great green flag runs, but as the lap count winds down, Garrett, action heats up, and these drivers fighting for every little bit on the racetrack, and we've seen the bumpities kind of go up, unfortunately, as the lap count winds down. Could we have a green-white checker in store here tonight? Maybe we will. Hopefully, the server lasts long, because I think we had that happen to us once this season, didn't we? Where the race ended short. Hopefully that doesn't happen here tonight. Hopefully we do get those green-white checkers in. But nonetheless, been a really entertaining race here tonight as we close in on the 10:30 hour on the East Coast. That 95 truck, Alonso Chicano, Garrett, if he gets to go to victory lane, as I think that, who was that squeaking on by? Was that Chris Cabot? Might have been. Was not Chris Cabot, because he's on pit road, so it must have been Cabot's teammate. There's Bradley Wilson coming out onto the racetrack right now. So, not sure exactly who that was. Ben Adams in the 5 machines back out there on the racetrack. Remember, he had a blown motor for a while. So, credit to Ben for that. And, whoa. Holy cow. I've done a Fox Sports here, folks. We're back live. I didn't miss a lot. We're back live, and the 95 Chicano's out front. I just looked up, and I was like, holy cow, we're going green. Apologize for that here, folks. But up at the front, Casey Brunson, Mitchell Adams racing for second. And one thing I want to mention about Mitchell Adams, Garrett, is he actually has fresher tires than these drivers he's racing with. He was last on pit road on 156. Alonso Chicano was last on pit road on 129. Could that give the 49 the winning advantage?
It certainly will help out there, Peter, if he could get clear of this number 10, but Casey Brunson's doing a great job holding his position, and we'll see. But Mitchell Adams is quickly running out of time to use those fresh tires.
So 4 more laps to go. Adams clears the number 10 up into second. He messaged me earlier today, told me he has a working mic finally, because he did not have a working mic as of last week. We were unable to get him up here in the 3-wide TV booth on Friday night. He was going to commentate alongside me, but now he has an opportunity to run down the race leader, but the lap count down to just 3. Brunson solidly in third, Shane Ewing in fourth, then a kind of a logjam behind him as the 01 of Nick Chambrone right there in fifth. As caution flag has come out yet again. I was just about to mention Bill Edwards has been waning here on older tires, but we're hearing that the yellow flag is waving again. That will put us into overtime here on 3-wide TV. We're hearing maybe Bradley Wilson in the number 54 may have been involved here, Garrett, trying to get past the number 43. 43 throws a huge block on him. They make contact and just sends it up into the wall. Wow, that was a big block from the number 43 machine.
Yeah, there has to be more to that story, Peter. That has to be race-long frustrations with each other or something, because it doesn't really make much sense given the context of that replay to just wreck a guy and block a guy like that. So, yeah, 54 just seemed fed up. We'll have to investigate that further, but unfortunately, I think we're all out of our detective skills are wearing pretty thin after tonight.
Yeah, you know, when you have one of those late blocks like that, you run someone down to the bottom side of the racetrack, you know, you're kind of asking for trouble sometimes when you do that. So I'm sure those drivers will probably have different opinions of that accident, but nonetheless, it has put us under the caution flag. We got John Boris in the chat saying Hondo doing the Lord's work here out there on the racetrack. Ryan Hesgard saying, wow, in the chat. Stay Tuned Sports also saying, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it there, Stay Tuned Sports. Is right. But while we're under the caution flag, folks, why don't you check out our race sponsor, SimShots. Of course, sponsoring the SimShots 180 here tonight. Just posted another link in the chat. We'll make sure that that gets into the race description as well in the YouTube link. We really appreciate SimShots for sponsoring the race here tonight on 3-wide TV. So we'll make sure to get that there. Cam Caldwell in the chat saying, hello, Peter. How's it going, Cam? Hope all is well with you. Great to have you back here on 3-wide TV. As we are going to get a little bit of a short track shootout here once those iRacing pace car lights stop twinkling. I think we dubbed that the Hyundai at one point, which is kind of a mixture of a Kia, an Audi, and a Hyundai. It's not a real car, is the iRacing pace car. They just kind of fictitiously made a vehicle. It looks all right up there, but it doesn't look very good with the lights twinkling on the top, because that means we aren't racing. But we're going to have a 2-lap shootout here, Garrett. All for the marbles here tonight. And now, Mitchell Adams on those fresh tires. Can he use them in just a handful of laps to get around Alonso Chicano? Chicano, is going to be the control car. He's going to be the driver who's going to be able to control this restart. That's going to put the 49 of Adams at a disadvantage for the restart, but the fresher tires, will they offset that advantage? Can Mitchell Adams get to the outside? What line is Chicano going to take for this restart? What do you think, G?
Well, Peter, your guess is as good as mine, because originally I was thinking that if Mitchell Adams got in the second place, was able to clear Brunson, get into that position, he would have a chance on this final restart. But with the choose rule, and with the speed that the 95 of Chicano has shown tonight, I don't think it's as easily cut and dry as you would think normally. So we're going to see if Alonso gets a good launch here, and if Mitchell could hang tight on the outside, he might have a chance. But if not, it might be too little too late for that 49.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not it is a little bit too late here in just a moment, because we'll have a 2-lap shootout. You see the back half of the field lining up here for this restart. Might there still be pages to this race? Ryan Hesgard saying, I want outside on this. Can pin the driver down if you have a good restart. I kind of think the same as you, Ryan, but Chicano's chosen the inside line for this restart. When will he hit the loud pedal? Green flag is waving. The 95 is on that loud pedal. Adams did not get a great restart. Chicano now going to be able to move up on the racetrack. They're side by side behind him, because remember, Adams had a tough time getting past the number 10 truck right there of Casey Brunson. And now looks like Brunson's going to duck back in. We're coming around to the white flag. Adams has about a truck length behind himself and Chicano. Can the field even make it back to the white flag? Looks like they do as they race towards turn number 1 here, Garrett.
White flag's out, Peter. We have guys sneaking their way into the top 5. I see Shane Ewing's up there now. I see Nick Chambrone's up there. These guys are taking advantage and trying to get into that top 5 as we're coming into turn 3 for the final time.
Coming into turn number 3 and 4 for the final time here tonight. And Alonso Chicano, who has dominated the race, goes to victory lane in the Sim Shots 180 here on 3 Wide TV. Last pitted on lap number 129. That was the winning call here tonight. Fireworks going off here all around the racetrack. You can see them on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. It was a little bit of a long one here tonight in the Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder, but Garrett, I gotta say, it stayed true to the thunder here tonight at Richmond.
Plenty of thunder, Peter. A lot of bumpity bump. And Alonso Chicano with a hard-earned victory. He deserved this for the Radius Racing guys, that number 95 team. Tremendous job, Alonso. Burn him down. And Peter, I have some good news for you. I will not be conducting post-race interviews. Our good friend Steven Doziak is here to fill in for me so I could go watch the Giants game.
Steven Doziak, just like Michael Waltrip, when Michael Waltrip does interviews, we get that guest interview. But for all of you people at home who might have some interest in the Giants and Chiefs game, the Giants have 10, the Chiefs have 14, with 3:44 left to go in the third quarter. So a very close game in Kansas City here tonight between those two teams. The 2-5 Giants playing the 3-4 Kansas City Chiefs, as Alonso Chicano here is very much celebrating here on the front stretch in his Chevy Silverado. We'll see whether or not he blows that motor. Let's see. Let's see if we can find that Steven Doziak person. Doz, you in the chat here already?
I'm already in here, Peter.
Well, I'll tell you what. You creep up on us. You chat in the chat while you're driving out there on the racetrack, and you already found your way up into the 3 Wide TV booth. How do you do that? You just kind of... You're always here doing something.
Mysterious ways, Peter. Mysterious ways.
Steven Doziak in mysterious ways. Those are things I don't want to think about. But anyway, Let's see if we can get some of our post-race interviews lined up for you folks here tonight with Casey Brunson, Mitchell Adams, and Alonso Chicano. So we'll just have to dig through the three-wide TV group here and put them all in the waiting room and make sure they don't have hot mics so they're not all bad-mouthing one another, because who knows, that has happened before. And trying to find everyone. There's Alonso Chicano. We'll get him into the waiting room. Great run for him here tonight, Dose. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your night and before we get those interviews going?
Yeah, I mean, I had a quiet night for the most part. A couple of wreck avoidance issues. For the most part, I kept it clean, battling up inside the top 10 there for a little bit. Then I was just unfortunate, I guess, to get collected up with Floppy's incident. I mean, I had nowhere to go. He bounced off the wall. It wasn't his fault. It just led Floppy into me into Fernando, and that was it for my night.
Well, definitely an interesting one. What was your thoughts on the choose rule here tonight?
I like it. I mean, there's some strategy into it. I mean, you could jump 10 places, I mean, at one point I jumped all the way up to the second row. It's just, you select that right row. I mean, you could go from mid-pack to front pack, and, you could stay out of a couple cautions that way. I mean, it has its gives and takes.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what our top three have to think about that as well. Let's start with tonight's third place finisher, driver of the number 10 machine, Casey Brunson. You got a copy?
Oh, yes.
Well, kind of a wild night here tonight at the Richmond Raceway. A great start to the race, opening 45 laps, all clean and green, and then after that, quite a bit of contact out there, but you kept the number 10 clean. You got it in a really good spot there late in the race, just not quite able to capitalize on that track position to get to the race lead. Talk us through your night.
Oh, yeah, this is a big part about keeping it clean. Pitted when I think I should have pitted. I mean, I think I was okay in my track position at the end instead of pitting near the end, but I just didn't have quite the speed those two down there have. I'm kind of a dirt guy on asphalt. Don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just here doing it.
Well, whatever you did well here tonight, finishing on the podium in the number 10 truck. It's a short track. It might have been a little bit in your wheelhouse. But another thing that was out there here tonight was the choose rule. Interested to hear your thoughts after finishing in the top three.
Oh, yeah, I've never done that before. It's a little confusing at first, but once you get it down, it's kind of helps you, then it doesn't help you at the same time. One moment the bottom will go, the next restart, you choose the top, then that won't go. So it get a little frustrating at times, but it's pretty neat.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see the feedback amongst the drivers throughout the week on the choose rule and how it affected the drivers here tonight. Next week, we go to Michigan. Big track. We go from the short track here, the 3/4 mile, to the 2-mile Michigan Speedway. What are your thoughts about Michigan?
To be honest, I don't think I've ever raced on Michigan before, so I guess we're going to figure it out.
I'll tell you what, sometimes that's not bad. We've seen some drivers win the race after their first start at the track here on 3-Wide TV. Sometimes you call it beginner's luck or whatever, but it's definitely going to be a wide open race, that is for sure. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to tonight?
It's this WF Motorsports and Garrett and Ben, all people that put on this race over here, and y'all for broadcasting.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping on by here in the 3-Wide TV booth, Casey, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to do it with tonight's third place finisher of the number 10 machine, Casey Brunson. And now I believe we are going to pick up tonight's runner-up driver of the number 49 machine. Maybe just needed a couple more laps. I believe Steven Osiek has caught up with Mitchell Adams.
Mitchell Adams, it's Doze in the 3-Wide TV booth. You have a copy?
Yes, I do.
So, solid P2 finish on the night. Take us over that last restart. You chose the outside with the choose rule. What was your decision to go outside and not behind Alonso?
I had been able to really roll the inside for a lot of tonight, and I was thinking that if I could get a good enough restart on the outside, I could get out into second place and clear the third place car. I couldn't quite do it into the first turn, which might have helped me out a little bit. But I was hoping I could get the clean air and not have to check up on the restart on the inside. But it was a great run. I was just surprised to find myself up there after the rough night I had. It was some great tire strategy by the Adams Racing team.
Yeah, mid race, I saw you mowing the infield lawn at one point. So you recovered well. What do you think about the two long green flag runs here to kind of open the race up? I mean, a short track. I mean, 40-car field. How was it out there?
I really enjoyed it at the start of the race. I had better long run speed than I had thought I would, and better than I usually do here at Richmond. So I was enjoying those, and then kind of got caught up in some of the mess a little bit later on. And you were talking about I got loose out of 4 and saved it in the infield, but I had a lot of fun tonight. It was really aggressive racing, but most of the time it stayed clean, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was out there on track with you guys for a little bit, and it was bumper to bumper, door to door, but everybody, kind of kept it clean for the most part, and not too many tempers flared over the radio. But the big thing is the choose rule. What was your take on that tonight?
I liked it. I think there was some confusion through the field about it, so we're just going to iron it over with everyone and make sure everyone's kind of clear on that before next week. But I enjoyed it. It makes it more realistic because they do it in real life. So I enjoyed it. And I think it added a whole other strategy to the racing. And I cost myself some spots with it on one of the later restarts. I gained a lot of spots with it. So it's fun. It's another element of strategy thrown into these races.
And speaking of next week, we head to Richmond. Any preview for that?
I'm just looking forward to getting back behind the wheel and racing again. I had fun the last 2 weeks and put up some good runs in the top 3, so I'm hoping to keep that going.
Well, you're always fast out there on track, always competing. Former Stay Tuned Sports Friday Night Truck Series winner and champion. Before we let you go, you want to give any shout outs?
Just anyone out there watching, cheering on the 49. Nicole, my mom, dad, grandparents that watch, to everyone who helps make this happen. My SimShots racing teammate, Stay Tuned Sports podcast for sponsoring this series, also Butt Kicker, and everyone at TNR, you guys in the broadcast booth, and Adams Racing. Check out my YouTube channel and at Adams Racing Official on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to next week.
Well, a strong night for you, Mitchell. A couple of bumpy roads along the way, but overall, P2, sound pretty pleased with your night.
Yep.
And there we have it, folks. Tonight's second place finisher, Mitchell Adams of the 49.
Yeah, and I am down here in victory lane with tonight's race winner, Alonso Chicano, who led a majority of this race, started up there at the front of the field and never really looked back. Alonso, it wasn't as easy as it sounds because there were a couple times where you got pushed back in the field with different tire strategies, but you always raced your way up to the front, making some really bold passes. Talk us through your night, because there were definitely times there when you were back in the pack. We didn't know how long it would take you to get up to the front, but you seemed to make pretty quick work of it. But then you had the 49 behind you, Mitchell Adams, on fresh tires at the end of the race. That had to be weighing on the back of your head.
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty scared when that last caution came out. So I was just mostly just focused on getting a good restart. Thankfully, had gotten a lot of practice doing it throughout the race. So just really focused on getting a good start, getting a little bit of distance on the rest of the field, just so I could kind of make my laps, just like last 2 laps or so, just kind of run my line and be able to take it home. So it feels great to finally get this TNR monkey off my back. It's I've been racing with these guys not super consistently, but for a little bit now, and it feels good to finally win a race here. Um, and especially to do it, this way and be able to just kind of flex my muscles a little bit here in this short track with a fixed setup. Everyone's running the same deal. Like no one has an advantage on anything really. So you can really show off your skill and how smart you are using up the tires and the car and everything. So I'm really glad I was able to show these guys finally what I'm able to do. Um, so yeah, it was really great race. Stressed out the whole time. Being the leader, thinking about who's pitting, who didn't pit, when should I pit, and everything. So it was fun though.
Yeah, those races where you are out front always end up being quite a lot of fun and some great hard racing throughout the pack. One thing you had to deal with here tonight was the choose rule, and of course you get the first pick being at the front of the field, but there were a couple times where you had to test it out when you're further back in the pack. I know there's seems to be some mixed opinions on it. Seems like everyone thinks it's a good idea. It's fun. Maybe, might need to be ironed out after a while. What are your thoughts after racing here tonight with that choose cone rule?
Personally, I love it. It adds a little extra factor to the race. And it's to me, I think it's great. I found it interesting that not, especially more so at the start of the race, and even like during the middle, not a lot of people were picking the bottom. So my teammates that were back there, they were able to pick up quite a few positions anytime they were caught in the back just by picking the bottom. So that was interesting because I I chose the top at times and I chose the bottom at times. I did it just so I mostly not to let anyone get used to me doing the same thing on restarts. But to me, and at least up front, I think there was like any super advantage to either choosing either lane, but um, I think it adds a fun little extra assignment for us to do, and kind of puts you know your more control into your hands. So you can't really complain too much about being stuck on one lane or the other.
And definitely gonna be interesting to see what the thoughts are about it as the week rolls on. Next week we go to Michigan, 2-mile racetrack. What are your thoughts about Michigan?
I love Michigan. Michigan has been good to me in the past, just like Richmond has been good to me in the past. I haven't raced there with these trucks recently, so it'll be interesting to see how these current trucks are racing there. Sometimes in the past it's been a little bit of plate racing, and then other times not so much. So we'll see how it is, but I love going to Michigan any chance I get. It's a really fun track for me, so I look forward to it.
Definitely going to be a lot of fun next week right here on 3 Wide TV, 9:30. 8:30 Eastern when we go live. Before you go, anyone want to give a shout out to, Alonso?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone at Radius Racing, all my teammates that helped me out there. All my teammates today who weren't Radius Racing, but just kind of I think it's a mixed group or whoever just hangs out on Discord. I'd like to thank them for you know the emotional support during the race. Big shout out to Grid Network for being a great sponsor. I have them on the truck. They're awesome. And my new sponsor, Celsius, they're a great drink. Super refreshing, tastes great. So, and you guys for broadcasting the race, always appreciate that. And yeah, that's pretty much about everyone.
Well, also great to have you here in the Stay Tuned Sports podcast, Monday Night Thunder Truck Series. And we'll see you again next week, trying to go back to back here on 3 Wide TV.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, folks, that's going to do it with tonight's race winner, Alonso Chicano. An absolute fantastic run for him here tonight, by far leading the most laps of all. And if you just heard a big shout, a big hoot and holler wherever you are, especially if you're up there around Old Forge, Pennsylvania, that's probably Garrett Gleason going nuts because his Giants just scored a touchdown to go ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs. There's still time to play in that football game, however, so there's plenty of times for the Chiefs to take the lead back. But anyway, we'll see how that all goes. But Doze, let's see if we can go through tonight's final race results here in the SimShots 180, because it was an interesting race, topsy-turvy event, that's for sure. It had us on the edge of our seats all the way to the end with that post-race, or not post-race, but the green-white checker that happened right there at the end. Alonso Chicano gets to go to victory lane. Mitchell Adams coming home in second. A slightly different tire strategy on the 49. Casey Brunson comes home third. Nick Chambrone in the 01, a sneaky fourth place here at the end of the night. Shane Ewing rounding out your top fives. A couple of Dizzy Motorsports machines up there. Bill Edwards, who partook in the butt kicker challenge here tonight, just comes up 3 positions short of picking up that extra cash. Big thank you to our friends over at thebuttkicker.com for putting that all together. That money will roll over to next week at Michigan. If you haven't already checked out thebuttkicker.com, there's a link in the description of the video. Really, really cool to add to your sim rig or sim racing chair. Tristan Maher comes home in 7th in the number 98. Tom Boren in the 31, who made not one but 2 crazy comebacks here tonight to finish in 8th position. Philip Scott comes home in 9th in the number 99 machine. And John Canizaro Jr. going to round out our top 10 there, Doze.
Yeah, 11th place, Ricky Williams. Good to see him back on track. 12th place, Casey Miller. Kevin Stone, 13th. Steve Bevacqua, 14th. Vinny Valvano, 15th. Jamar Dumas, 16th. Jason Freeman, last week's winner, 17th. 18th, Steve Kegman. Hondo Longmire, top 20 and 19th. And running out your top 20, Greg Gable.
Tony Lucarelli will come home in the 21st position here tonight. 3-wide TV's own Bob Giaquinto kind of finished 22nd in the number 23 machine. Ben Adams in the number 5 machine, finishing 5 laps down. Did an impressive job to get the number 5 SimShots racing truck back out there after that truck at one point tonight was billowing smoke. Matthew Rodriguez going to come home 24th, 7 laps down. Bradley Wilson 25th. Cameron Perez in the 48 truck, 9 laps down. Fernando Matos, unfortunately, 27th. Mike Floppy Tellier, blown motor on his truck. He's going to finish 28th. Doze, not a great night for you, finishing down there in 29th. And Ryan Hesgard, who had such a promising race going until plowing into the side of Andrew Himmelman. After Himmelman made contact with the wall, just absolutely nowhere for him to go. He's going to finish out our top 30 there, Doze.
Yeah, and Mr. Simshots himself, Andrew Himmelman, 31st. Robert Kenny, 32nd. Jeff Price, 33rd. Chris Gabot, 34th. John Borst, 35th. Jeff Stewart, 36th. Bad night for James Lorello here in 37th. Lupe Gonzalez, 38th. Jason Shue, 39th. And rounding out your field in 40th, Bronson Stafford.
Huge field here tonight at the Richmond Raceway, and we definitely had some really good racing to show for it here in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Monday Night Thunder here on 3Y TV in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Gotta say, big shout out to our friends over at SimShots for sponsoring tonight's 180 lap event, as well as Butt Kicker for sponsoring the Butt Kicker Challenge, as well as all the other sponsors. Of course, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. There's a link to their Podbean if you want to listen to them. If you're up in the Northeast or you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I will say they always have hot takes on the Philadelphia Eagles, but they have hot takes on the rest of the world of sports as well. They don't just focus on them, so make sure to check out our good friends over at Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. I just mentioned the Eagles because they're having such a tough season, and I'm a Cowboys fan. But anyway, big shout out to everyone who puts this together each and every week on the channel. We really do appreciate all of our sponsors here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, as well as SimTV, who gives us the camera angles that we have here on the channel week to week. But Doze, we're racing at Michigan. What are your thoughts about going to Michigan next week?
Yeah, I mean, kind of Talladega, Daytona style. I don't know what they're going to do with the horsepower if they knock it back. Could turn into a plate race. If not, it could turn into, mile and a half, short track. plate race. I mean, it's all going to depend on what they have in store for us. But I look forward to it. I usually run strong at the bigger tracks, so I'm looking for a good finish next week. Maybe Garrett will want to race, and I'll jump in the booth. We haven't figured that out yet, but if I do race, I do expect a good finish.
Well, you heard it here from Doziak first. He's expecting a good run next week. Big shout out to everyone in the chat here tonight. Cam Caldwell jumping in, Ryan Hesgard after he had his big accident. John Borst had his huge accident as well. He joined the chat. Of course, Doze, you chimed up. The Windsors always joining us in the chat. James Casterline as well. Great to have you. Stay tuned Sports in the chat. Tana Himmelman in the chat. GJ Buck checked in. Johnny Williams as well. Folks, we really do appreciate it. Of course, Nick Cohan came in as well, tried to come up with a drinking game, and of course, we rightfully said Nick sucks. It's an inside joke, folks. Don't worry about it. Josh Sobel jumped in here tonight. Folks, we really do appreciate you. Melanie Riley jumped in to root on Bradley Wilson here tonight. Folks, you guys are absolutely awesome, and we cannot wait to have you back here on the channel later this week for more 3-Wide TV action. We really do appreciate it, and have a good night. Stay safe and all of that good stuff. We shall see ya.